Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Super System Plundering the Heaven. Chapter 81. Hearing Yi Yu's words, Qin Qing's eyes turned red, and she wanted to cry. Yi Yu, why are you doing this? You didn't say that before. Qin Qing, what's going on? Is there any misunderstanding? Han Shui has come over at this moment. She has realized that things are not so simple. However, Qin Qing, who had always greeted Han Shui with a smile, suddenly changed his attitude and scolded Han Shui. Han Shui, stop pretending to be a good person. Some students in the neighboring class heard Qin Qing's shouting voice, and they all gathered around out of curiosity. Seeing many students coming around, Qin Qing's eyes flashed with joy, and then he said, Han Shui, Yi Yu has chosen me, please leave him. Han Shui stepped forward, looked at Qin Qing, and said sadly, Qin Qing, I have always regarded you as a friend, but I didn't expect you to frame Yi Yu so much. Why are you doing this? For what? Qin Qing laughed loudly, because you are beautiful. Because of your good family background. All the good things in this world should belong to you. I don't accept it. With jealousy flashing in Qin Qing's eyes, he shouted, I don't accept it. Why are all the good things yours? I just want to grab it from you. Yi Yu has already promised me that he will follow me. Together. There were more classmates looking around, looking at Yi Yu and the three of them in the field. They talked in a low voice. What is the problem? It seems that Qin Qing from the 5th class and Han Shui from the 1st class are fighting for a man. Wow, so crazy. Yi Yu admires Qin Qing a little now, he is a good actor. Qin Qing, you'd better tell the truth, otherwise you will be beaten in the face. Qin Qing stared at Yi Yu with tears in his eyes, like an abandoned puppy. Brother Yi, when you hugged me last night, you didn't say that. Qin Qing pretended to be pitiful on the face, but secretly hated in his heart, who made you look down on me. Now everyone in the school knows that you are a scumbag. I see how you can be with Han Shui. Han Shui didn't believe Qin Qing's words, and said firmly, I know very well what kind of person Yi Yu is, he can't be with you. Qin Qing sneered, and then said, oh. What do you know? Do you know what a man is? Yi Yu fell in love with me. The students who looked around took a deep breath. This word has a lot of meaning. Immediately, they all looked at Yi Yu with strange eyes. I didn't expect this Yi Yu to pedal 2 boats. That's right, this Qin Qing is so graceful, no one can control it. Scumbag. This Yi Yu is too happy. Bah, it's too bad, it's not enough to have a school beauty like Han Shui, and you have to hook up everywhere. When Han Shui heard Qin Qing's words, her face turned pale at first, and then she recovered because Han Shui believed in Yi Yu. Yi Yu looked at Qin Qing with admiration. It was a feat to be able to make a fake thing so real. Yi Yu believed that Qin Qing was instructed by others, because if no one gave her any benefit, she would definitely not do anything that would hurt 1,000 enemies and 800 herself. Glancing at the crowd, Yi Yu's eyes flashed a cold light. Ouyang Yu, it's you again. It seems that I really need to give you some color to see. Yi Yu watched Ouyang Yu squeeze through the crowd, walked in, and said coldly, Ouyang Yu, I didn't expect you to stand in front of me. With Yi Yu's sharp and threatening aura, Ouyang Yu's face became unnaturally pale, but he held back because he knew that this was his last chance to turn over. Ha, why don't I dare to come? Ouyang Yu looked at Yi Yu, raised his head, and said in a disdainful tone, Yi Yu, I didn't expect you to be such a despicable and shameless person. Yi Yu chuckled lightly and looked at Ouyang Yu, who was forced to calm down. Oh. Then tell me, why am I so despicable and shameless? Look at this thing. Ouyang Yu took out a piece of paper, unfolded it and placed it in front of Yi Yu. Look carefully, what is this? Yi Yu watched intently, with a strange expression on his face, and said to Qin Qing, you must not know that Ouyang Yu will take this thing out. Qin Qing couldn't understand Yi Yu's words, and then looked at the paper in Ouyang Yu's hand. Swish. Qin Qing's face immediately turned bloodless. He stared at the paper in Ouyang Yu's hand in horror, and murmured, how could you have this thing? When Han Shui saw this piece of paper, her expression changed. She glanced at Qin Qing in disbelief, with disgust flashing in her eyes. The classmates around saw Yi Yu and the others had different expressions, and looked at the paper curiously. Physical examination report, name Qin Qing. Pregnant, after the abortion. A classmate read the words on the paper, and then his face changed, and he was speechless in surprise. The discussion all around exploded, because the content on this piece of paper was really surprising. It turned out to be Qin Qing's medical report. She is pregnant. Didn't you see it? The surgery is all done. Hey, this is too. Everyone turned their attention to Qin Qing, and the meaning in their eyes made Qin Qing almost crazy. Staggering back a few steps, Qin Qing's face was pale and bloodless, and asked Yang Yu blankly, "Why are you? Why did I get your medical report?" Yang Yu said first, then shook the report. "My aunt is a doctor in the health care hospital, and when I went to her, I happened to see your report." Quote. Yang Yu took a step closer and asked Qin Qing sharply, "Is the child's father Yi Yu?" Qin Qing stared at Yang Yu in disbelief. Her eyes flashed with resentment, but at the moment she was already riding a tiger, so she could only grit her teeth and say, "It's Yi Yu." Yang Yu took another step closer and asked closely, "Did Yi Yu force you to do the surgery?" Qin Qing glanced at Yang Yu in despair, closed his eyes and said, "Yes." Whoa! All the classmates around burst out, looking at Yi Yu with eyes full of anger and disgust. This Yi Yu is too hateful, how could he do such a thing? That's right, Bai has such a handsome face, it's really Jin Yu's failure. Kick him out of school, we don't want such shameless people in our school. Get out of school, question mark question mark question mark. The classmates shouted in unison, all demanding that Yi Yu be expelled from the school. Yang Yu couldn't hide the smug look in his eyes at this moment. He waved his hands to signal for his classmates to be quiet, and turned to look at Han Shui. "Xiao Shui, this kind of person is not worth your sadness, leave him quickly." Han Shui's face was cold, and her arm around Yi Yu did not loosen, because even if she was an enemy of the world, Han Shui still had to stand by Yi Yu's side. Han Shui said firmly, "You don't need to say, no matter what, I believe in Yi Yu." Yang Yu was extremely angry, and the veins on his forehead burst out. He couldn't believe it. At this point, Han Shui still trusted Yi Yu so much. Just as Yang Yu was about to speak, he heard a classmate behind him shouting, "The principal and director Zhu are here." Yang Yu immediately calmed down, since there was no way for Han Shui to misunderstand Yi Yu, then kicking Yi Yu out of the school would be considered a goal. The principal, Li Zushu, and the dean of the school, Zhu Liang, walked in separately from the crowd, frowned and asked, "What's going on?" Yang Yu quickly walked to Li Zushu's side, handed him the report sheet in his hand, and then said, "Principal, is this the case?" Yang Yu vividly made up the story of how Yi Yu made Qin Qing pregnant and forced her to operate, and then said, "Principal, this despicable and shameless person will be kicked out of the school." Li Zushu didn't make any statement after hearing this, but turned to look at Qin Qing, as what Yang Yu said true. It is true. Qin Qing's body was a little shaky, but at this moment, it was useless to say anything else, so he could only brag about it. Li Zushu sighed, "I didn't expect that there are people like this in our school. Yi Yu, please talk about it." Yi Yu nodded and stepped forward, looked around, and saw that everyone had arrived. This farce should end. Snapped, snapped, snapped. Yi Yu clapped with both hands, looked indifferent, looked at Yang Yu, and said sarcastically, "Yang Yu, I have to admire your very successful director of this scene, it made me very happy to watch it." Yi Yu, stop pretending, if I were you, I would have left the school in shame. Yang Yu shouted sharply, and at the same time there was a bad feeling in his heart, especially when he thought of the scene where Zhu Liang faced Yi Yu and told the truth unconsciously, he felt even more uneasy. "Qin Qing, at this point, I'm afraid it's not what you want to see." Yi Yu turned to look at Qin Qing with a pale face. "Your first thought should be to make Han Shui misunderstand my relationship with you, but the moment Yang Yu took out the report, things were beyond your expectations." Qin Qing bit her lip and didn't answer, and when she heard Yi Yu's words, her face became even more ugly. Seeing that Qin Qing didn't speak, Yi Yu looked at Qin Qing with pity. "To be honest, you should be the biggest victim of this farce. No matter what the outcome is, it's hard for you to stay in school." Qin Qing's head buzzed, her eyes darkened, and she almost fell. She finally thought that if such a thing happened, I'm afraid her own end would not be much better. I don't know, such a thing will happen, what should I do?" Qin Qing was desperate and wanted to ask Yi Yu for help. At this moment, she was like a person who was about to drown, holding the last straw tightly. Yi Yu looked at Qin Qing and sighed, "You can't live by committing sins. If you want to reduce the punishment, tell the truth. Qin Qing's eyes shrank, his face became hesitant, and he opened his mouth, wanting to say something. When the students around saw Qin Qing hesitating, they felt that things were not simple. What's the matter? It seems that the situation has changed. Looking at Qin Qing's expression, it doesn't seem right. Could it be that we misunderstood Yi Yu? Look again, maybe this Yi Yu is scaring Qin Qing. Yang Yu on the side became anxious, he couldn't let Qin Qing tell the truth. Qin Qing, don't trust Yi Yu's rhetoric anymore, he's lying to you. Don't trust the man in front of you anymore. Yang Yu emphasized the word before, just to let Qin Qing know that he would give her a lot of money. Qin Qing understood what Yang Yu meant, and then relaxed, as if he wanted to understand money. I just found out now that there are more important things in this world than money. Yang Yu, that's not what you told me at first. Qin Qing stared at Yang Yu with a mocking smile on the corner of his mouth. Qin Qing pointed at the report sheet in Yang Yu's hand and screamed, "It was you who made my secret public, it was you who threw my dignity on the ground and trampled it over and over again." Yang Yu's expression changed, his eyes darkened. "Shut up. You fool, don't even think about slandering me. Oh, I see, it's because you still have Yi Yu in your heart, and you frame me because you don't want him to be implicated." Qin Qing looked at the onlookers, took a deep breath, and then said, "I framed Yi Yu, and Yang Yu ordered me to do all this." Wow, the truth is like this. It turns out that Yi Yu is innocent. All this is Yang Yu's conspiracy. We misunderstood Yi Yu and Yang Yu. The onlookers looked at Yang Yu angrily, he directed all this. And they even spoke ill of Yi Yu before, which was really inappropriate. Yang Yu became anxious, waved his hands, and shouted, "Don't believe her. It must be Qin Qing and Yi Yu who want to frame me." Yi flashed a cold light, this Yang Yu was still stubbornly resisting. "Since that's the case, then you can taste the power of the mantra potion." With a flick of Yi Yu's wrist, the mantra potion was stimulated and splashed on Yang Yu. Yang Yu, tell the truth, is this your conspiracy? Yang Yu pouted, despising Yi Yu in his heart. "How can I tell the truth if you ask that?" "It's my conspiracy." Hiss. The classmates around were startled. How didn't resist, did he answer so simply? Zhu Liang, who was standing behind Principal Li Zushu, felt that the scene at the moment was very familiar. The last time he framed Yi Yu, he ended up being a ghost and told the truth unconsciously. "Did you instruct Qin Qing to separate Han Shui and me?" Yi Yu asked immediately. Yang Yu has not recovered from the answer just now, and said involuntarily, "Yes, only if Han Shui misunderstood you, I will have the opportunity to take advantage of it." Yi Yu glanced at Qin Qing and then asked, "Where did you get Qin Qing's report? Why was it exposed and made public?" Yang Yu was sweating profusely, desperately trying to cover his mouth, but the voice still came out of his mouth. "My uncle stole it from my aunt's hospital. Only by making everyone think you are a scumbag can Li Zushu pretend to force the principal to fire you." Li Zushu glared at Yang Yu, very annoyed. "You don't respect me too much. You must be fired." When Zhu Liang heard that Yang Yu was implicated in him, he shouted angrily, "I just said that Yi Yu's evil clan can't be provoked. You must not listen." Li Zushu glanced at Zhu Liang coldly, and said softly, "You can get out of here." Zhu Liang's eyes darkened, and he wished he fainted immediately. "Don't you know that if you show this report, it will destroy Qin Qing?" Yi Yu frowned, her face even colder. "Ha, I'm tired of playing anyway, so I'll make use of the waste in the end. I made her pregnant, and I forced her to have an operation again." When Qin Qing heard this, she fainted and fell to the ground. What she regretted most at this moment was knowing the scumbag Yang Yu. This time, Yang Yu provoked public anger, and all the students around him spurned him. "Bah, I didn't expect Yang Yu to be such a scumbag. Knowing people, knowing faces, but not hearts, this kind of person is so shameless. Humph, Yang Yu and Qin Qing are not good goods. This scumbag will fire him. That's right, fire him." Everything is quiet. Yi Yu waved to the infuriated classmates. When everyone heard Yi Yu's words, they all quieted down, and looked at Yi Yu with admiration. It was this person who faced conspiracy and framed accusations indifferently, and finally turned the tide and found out the truth. "Principal Li, now that things have come to light, what should you do?" Li Zushu coughed dryly. looked around at the students around him, and said loudly, in view of Yang Yu's bad influence, we have decided to impose a punishment of expulsion from the school. We, Shangyu Middle School, can't keep such black sheep. In addition, Zhu Liang from the teaching department, as an elder, not only did not discourage him, but also became an accomplice and was also expelled. As for Qin Cheng, he was deceived by Yang Yu, and he was also a victim. He was sentenced to retain his student status and go home to think about it for a year. Li Zishu turned his head to look at Yi Yu. Finally, in order to compensate Yi Yu, we decided to waive Yi Yu's tuition fees, and there are also scholarship awards. Oh, the principal is wise. Ignoring Yang Yu, Zhu Liang, and Qin Cheng who were in a state of despair, all the classmates cheered around Yi Yu. And Yi Yu looked at the depressed Yang Yu. His eyes flickered with cold light, and he had already said that he would not let him go easily. Talent. Cursed aura. A virtual gold coin appeared in front of Yi Yu, but the surrounding students didn't notice it. With a flick of his finger, the gold coin turned into a streamer and submerged into Yang Yu's body, but Yang Yu didn't even know it. Yi Yu smiled lightly. Yang Yu, just enjoy the next month of bad luck. Back in his seat, Yi Yu saw Han Shui's desolate expression and thought she was still worried. Xiao Shui, don't worry anymore, this is all Yang Yu's conspiracy. Han Shui shook her head. I never doubted you, but Qin Cheng was my friend originally, but now she's in such a state, Yi Yu said softly, it's all her love for vanity and her own fault. It's not your fault. When Han Shui heard the words, she felt relieved, her face looked better, and then she raised her hand and motioned for Yi Yu to check. Yi Yu, this lovesick ring is really amazing, wearing it, I can sense you at home. Yi Yu laughed when he heard the words, of course, this is due to the lovesickness of the cowherd and the weaver girl. Even if the Milky Way is separated, the connection between them cannot be blocked. Han Shui lowered her head and rubbed the ring on her finger, pondered for a moment and said, Yi Yu, if one day we are separated and can't be together, what should I do? Yi Yu held Han Shui's hand tightly and said firmly, no matter what, I won't let go. Han Shui smiled sweetly when she heard the words, but she still unconsciously thought of the conversation she had with her father last night. Xiao Shui, who gave you the ring in your hand? Han Shui's father, Han Shiyu, sat on the sofa and asked. Han Shui paused, then said, Yi Yu gave it to me. Yi Yu, that poor student. Han Shiyu sneered disdainfully, where did he get the money to give you such a precious ring? Dad, investigate him. Han Shui glared at Han Shiyu angrily. What's wrong with me? My daughter is dazed by him, shouldn't I investigate? Han Shui bit her lip and said firmly, no matter what, I will be with him. Han Shiyu frowned and looked at Han Shui for a long time before sighing, hey, Xiao Shui, you are my daughter, I respect your decision. Han Shui's eyes lit up instantly, she reached Han Shiyu's side, put her arms around his arm, and said with a smile, Dad, I'll be the best for you when I come to you. Han Shiyu's face was dark and she snorted, she really didn't want to stay with her, but I have conditions. What conditions? Tell me. Only half a year, your relationship will be maintained until you go abroad. Han Shui screamed and said dissatisfiedly, why? Han Shiyu said sharply, there is no reason, and during this period, there must be no behavior that crosses the line. Han Shui blushed with embarrassment, Dad, what are you talking about? What a line-crossing behavior, really? Han Shiyu coughed dryly, Dad is also for your own good. One day you bring him here, I will test it myself. If he doesn't like me, you guys end it as soon as possible. Han Shui is very satisfied now that Han Shiyu can take a step back. After all, if there is one step, there are 2 steps, 3 steps. Dad, then tell me, why can't you go abroad? Han Shiyu leaned back on the sofa, raised her head, and said wearily, because you were born to take on the responsibility of the goddess of the snow country. Han Shui was dumbfounded. Is such a fantastic answer really good? Dad, what are you talking about? Goddess of the snow country. Dad, have you read too many novels? Han Shiyu scolded Han Shui, don't talk nonsense. Xiao Shui, you must know that this world is far more complicated than you think. And you are the goddess of the snow country. Seeing that Han Shui didn't believe it, Han Shiyu had to further say, in a few days, the day when Her Royal Highness Princess Diana of the Snow Country arrives, she will tell you in detail at that time. Diana, Han Shui repeated it gently. She knew the name, because Diana was known as the bright moon of the Snow Country and the most beautiful princess in the Snow Country. Qingming Yakshuan was also the place where Yi Yu had an appointment with Qian Yue last time. The two sat opposite each other. Qian Yue took a sip of tea, and asked anxiously, Yi Yu, called me over today, is there any new auction item? No, I've already got the auction items. Yi Yu said indifferently. Qian Yue was surprised. It's all set, where is it? Yi Yu pointed to the school bag beside him and motioned for Qian Yue to open it. It's all inside. Qian Yue hurriedly opened the bag and took out the small boxes inside. Looking at the simple box on the table, this is also bought from the roadside, what can it be? Qian Yue has no expectations. Qian Yue opened the first box, which contained a tortoise shell, the color of which was emerald green like beautiful jade. Is this a turtle shell? Why are there black and white dots on it? Qian Yue flipped through Luoshu and asked Yi Yu. Yi Yu took a sip of the tea, lit the turtle shell and said, this is Luoshu, with the turtle names on, and its armor has a picture. It is from heaven, and it is the origin of the yin and yang 5 elements. Qian Yue took a deep breath. Isn't this a legendary thing? How did you get it? Yi Yu gave Qian Yue a blank look. Don't worry about how I got it, just tell me what its value is. Qian Yue flipped through the book of Luo obsessively, and said inadvertently, for those of insight, it is a priceless treasure. Yi Yu, this Luoshu is so precious, do you really want to auction it off? Qian Yue is a little regretful. This is a good thing, it's a pity to auction it off. Of course I have better ones. Yi Yu replied. Yi Yu wouldn't tell Qian Yue that his supermental arithmetic is far more powerful than this Luoshu. All right. Qian Yue did not continue to ask, and took out the next box. These gold coins are in good condition. Qian Yue said happily when he saw the 5 Aztec gold coins in the box. Yi Yu picked up a gold coin, played with it for a moment, and said, these 5 Aztec gold coins, but I finally got them, they must be sold for a good price. What gold coins? Qian Yue asked in shock, thinking he was hallucinating. Aztec gold coins, Yi Yu said again, glancing at Qian Yue, so unsteady, even the chief auctioneer. Qian Yue shook his hand and threw away the gold coin in his hand, his face pale, the legendary Aztec gold coin that is cursed and unknown. Seeing Qian Yue's fear, Yi Yu chuckled, don't be afraid, it's not that serious. Qian Yue's heart is still a little trembling now, and he asked Yi Yu in a low voice, hasn't this kind of gold coins disappeared? Yi Yu shook his head and did not answer. The curse is just a rumor, but this kind of bizarre legend should increase the value of these gold coins, right? Qian Yue nodded, carefully picked up a gold coin, and looked at it obsessively. Of course, these 5 gold coins can definitely sell for a big price. Reluctantly put down the gold coins in his hand, Qian Yue picked up a long box on the table and opened it. Looking at the thing lying quietly inside, Qian Yue smiled bitterly. Yi Yu, even if you can't find the auction item, you don't need to use a piece of grass to fool you. Yi Yu gave Qian Yue a blank look. You know shit, this is a good thing, take out that steel pipe and chop it with a sword grass. In the box holding the sword grass, there was also a steel pipe. Yi Yu knew that Qian Yue did not understand the magic of the sword grass. Qian Yue held the sword grass in one hand and the steel pipe in the other. Yi Yu picked up the teacup and blew it on his lips. Try it, maybe. Qian Yue sneered. This sword grass really wants to cut off the steel pipe, so I will cut the steel pipe. As Qian Yue was speaking, he took the sword grass and slashed towards the steel pipe. Jingle. A length of steel pipe fell to the ground, making a crisp sound. I'll take this steel pipe home and enshrine it. Qian Yue looked at the broken steel pipe, and then at the ordinary sword grass. The sentence MMP was about to blurt out. What kind of grass is this? Did the headmaster of Tongtian cult master come out? Yi Yu took the sword grass in Qian Yue's hand and stroked it carefully. If it hadn't been for my temperament, I wouldn't have auctioned it. Qian Yue rubbed his chin, and said faintly, walking around the world on grass. It really doesn't sound good. Yi Yu glared at Qian Yue. Tell me what price this sword grass is worth. This is simply a miracle in life science, isn't it? Even if I have worn out my mouth for the old money, I have to shoot for a shocking price. Qian Yui's expression was solemn, but he looked like a chief auctioneer. Yi Yu nodded with a smile on the corner of his mouth. Okay, I know you can, let's take a look at the next auction item. Qian Yue carefully put down the sword grass, not forgetting to put the steel pipe in. Opening the box, Qian Yue took out an antique book. What kind of ancient book is this? If it's a treasure, it can fetch a good price. There was a news a few days ago, I don't know if you read it or not. Yi Yu said aside. What news? Qian Yue asked while flipping through the books. An old man fainted suddenly, and the rescue was ineffective, but he was rescued after a few injections in a young man. Of course I do. The old man who fainted was called Tang Shi, the patriarch of the Tang family. This incident was a sensation at the time. I heard that he was rescued by the 13 needles of the Ghost Gate. Qian Yue's action of flipping through the book suddenly stopped, because he found that what was drawn on the book was a pattern of acupuncture points on the human body. Qian Yue shook his hands and almost threw away the book in his hand. He turned his head and asked Yi Yu in shock, could this be the 13 needles of the Devil's Gate? Yi Yu nodded and said with emotion, the 13 needles of the Ghost Gate, one needle is divided into yin and yang, and the ghosts stand on both sides. It can be called the art of ghosts and gods. Hearing what Yi Yu said, Qian Yue swallowed and asked in disbelief, could that be you? It's me, and I learned acupuncture from this ancient book. Hiss. Qian Yue took a deep breath and felt that the ancient book in his hand was more important than Mount Tai. This is a life-saving technique. I believe that someone must take a picture of it even if they are bankrupt. Qian Yue came back to his senses, and suddenly asked Yi Yu in a low voice and mysteriously, Yi Yu, can you treat that kind of disease with 13 needles of the Ghost Gate? Yi Yu took a sip of tea, squinted at Qian Yue, and asked playfully, what kind of disease? Qian Yue coughed dryly, a little shy, and whispered, it's the kind of quick disease. The tea in Yi Yu's mouth almost sprayed on Qian Yue's big face. Yes. Protect you from the 7th daughter of Yi Yu. Qian Yue's eyes lit up and hurriedly said, can you give me 2 needles? Get out. Seeing Yi Yu's unpleasant expression, Qian Yue, who knew the interest, didn't say any more, and picked up the last auction item. Under the light, the crystal-clear luminous cup shone with charming brilliance. Qian Yue played with the luminous cup and said happily, just looking at the appearance, this luminous cup is the most dazzling. Yi Yu brought a glass of water into the luminous cup, and then handed it to Qian Yue. Qian Yue took a hesitant sip, then narrowed his eyes, indulging in the fragrance of the wine. After a long while, Qian Yue opened his eyes and said in surprise, there is such a fine wine in the world. There are rare stones and famous wine jade in the world, carved into a luminous cup, which can turn water into a superb wine. Qian Yue was already numb with surprise. All the auction items that Yi Yu brought over were priceless treasures. Right. Qian Yue took out Yi Yu's ID card from his pocket and handed it to Yi Yu. Boss Yi. This is your ID. Yi Yu took the certificate and asked in confusion, Boss Yi. Qian Yue nodded solemnly. I have transferred the top auction to your name, and you will be the boss of the top auction in the future. Yi Yu stared at Qian Yue for a while, and then said, are you serious? Qian Yue nodded fiercely, it really can't be more true. I believe that the top auction will be in your hands, and it will shine with dazzling light. When Yi Yu and Qian Yue came out of the box, they happened to meet 3 people who came out of another box. 2 men and 1 woman. One of the tall and thin young men said to the other man, thank you, Wan Zong, for being able to come to my peak auction. It must be full of brilliance by then. The man waved his hand, gave a light hum, and stepped out of Qingming Yakshuan. Qian Yue saw the tall and thin man and the beautiful woman leaning beside him, clenched his fists and trembled with excitement. Zhao Hao, Li Shaoqing, this pair of sluts. Yi Yu understood. These 2 were the ones who made Qian Yue almost ruin his family. Zhao Hao also heard what Qian Yue said, turned his head, looked at Qian Yue and said disdainfully, yo, this is Mr. Qian. You don't manage your summit auction well, and you still want to drink tea. Oh, I see. Before Qian Yue could speak, Zhao Hao took the lead in laughing, is it possible that your peak auction can't continue and you have filed for bankruptcy? Qian Yue gritted his teeth and said angrily, Zhao Hao. You will not succeed. One day I will leave you with nothing. Zhao Hao sneered, my Jianfang auction will hold a grand auction at the end of this month, and the famous rich people from all over the country will gather here, and Jianfang will become the top auction venue by then. Qian Yue pointed at Zhao Hao, his face flushed with anger. If it wasn't for me to promote you and you dig my channels, you would have achieved what you are today. Bah, shameless and despicable. Zhao Hao's face flashed a hint of shame, and then he became ruthless. Humph. This is my own ability. Ha, your own ability. Qian Yue almost laughed angrily, and pointed at Li Shaqing. It's not because this fool sold enough strength in my bed. It's ridiculous that I still think she is the person I love the most. Quote. Zhao Hao's face was extremely ugly at the moment. Shaqing and I were originally lovers, and you broke us up. I will take revenge on you. Couple. Qian Yue sneered, when I didn't hear what you planned. Zhao Hao was speechless, but seeing Qian Yue's dejected appearance, he became excited again and looked at Qian Yue with contempt. Anyway, I succeeded, and you are a complete loser. Qian Yue shouted, I haven't failed yet, the summit auction will rise again. Zhao Hao smiled and looked at Yi Yu, rise again. Rely on this high school student. Can he auction anything, a stack of broken books? Joke. Yi Yu held back Qian Yue who wanted to speak, looked at Zhao Hao who was proud, and chuckled, don't you believe that the peak auction will return to the peak? Zhao Hao sneered, peak. Under the leadership of Qian Yue, the pinnacle auction will sink into hell forever. Yi Yu shook his finger and said indifferently, you were wrong about one thing, now the boss of the top auction is me. Zhao Hao was stunned for a moment, and then he laughed, ha ha ha. Qian Yue, I have to admire you for being able to fool such a foolish boy to block your hole. Yi Yu ignored Zhao Hao, but said coldly, 3 days later, the top auction will hold an auction, I hope you will not despair. Zhao Hao looked at Yi Yu as if he was looking at another fool, okay. I will help you promote it for free, but I want to see how you will end it. After Zhao Hao and Li Shaqing left, Yi Yu said to Qian Yue, Old Qian, use all your connections, I want everyone in the country to know that there will be a shocking auction in 3 days. Qian Yue nodded and said solemnly, no problem. 3 days later, the peak auction will return to its peak. After separating from Qian Yue, Yi Yu thought about it and decided to increase publicity efforts. Taking out the business card of the local tyrant Jin, Yi Yu called according to the number. I'm Kong Yuxian, who are you? It's me, Yi Yu. Oh, it's little brother Yi Yu, what's the matter? Do me a favor, peak auction will hold an auction in 3 days, you can promote it. Kong Yuxian asked with some doubts, peak auction? Is that the auction house that is about to close down? That's right, now I'm the boss of the top auction. Kong Yuxian took a breath and was a little surprised. Little brother Yi Yu, this auction house is a pit, there is no problem in helping to promote it, but I am afraid that there will be no good auction items, which will be a disservice. Yi Yu chuckled and said in a firm tone, you don't have to worry about this, the auction items are all rare treasures, and you will definitely be shocked by your glasses. Kong Yuxian was stunned for a moment, then laughed out loud, ha ha ha, then I'll wait and see. After hanging up the phone, Yi Yu called the doctor, Lu Feng, who had a relationship with him before. Dr. Lu, at the summit auction in 3 days, there will be a secret book for the 13 needles of the Ghost Gate. Really, I have already told my tutor about the 13 needles of the Ghost Gate. He is very interested in the old man. The auction will definitely go. As for why Lu Feng was notified, it was because Yi Yu suddenly remembered that this acupuncture cheat book is different from other treasures. Most people are not very interested, but people in the medical field will definitely be interested. Walking on the road, Yi Yu saw many people gathered around, talking a lot. Out of curiosity, Yi Yu walked over. In the middle of the crowd, a hard-to-age woman was lying on the side of the road, clutching her legs, whispering in a low voice, her face looking very painful. A very tall foreign woman wearing sunglasses stood beside the old man, looking very flustered, explaining something to everyone. Nima Wu, cloth looks like me. As soon as Yi Yu heard it, under the talent of a language master, he understood, this is the language of the snow country, I don't have it. The latter sentence is awkward Chinese dialect, not me. The foreign woman was trying her best to defend herself, but the crowd around couldn't understand what she was saying. 2 young people in the crowd glanced at each other, then stepped forward. Although you are a foreigner, if you bump into someone, you have to be in charge. Are you right? One of the young people said loudly, looking at the crowd around him. Another young man pointed at the old man who fell on the ground and said, "That is, this old man was pushed down by you. Do you think it is private or call the police?" The foreign woman explained in awkward Chinese dialect, "Tabu looks like me and was pushed down." Hearing that the woman was still defending, the two youths looked at each other and said loudly, "We all saw you bumped into her before, but you still don't admit it." "That's right, there are witnesses and physical evidence, hurry up and lose money." Driven by the two men, the surrounding onlookers also began to discuss. "This person's quality is too bad, and he won't admit it when he bumps into someone. I can't let her go, what's wrong with the foreigners? I'm also responsible for making mistakes. That's right, let her lose money. Why don't you call the police?" Hearing the crowd discussing around, the foreign woman became more and more helpless, and said repeatedly, "Okay. Okay." Then she opened her handbag, took out a stack of coins, and wanted to pass it to the old man on the ground. The eyes of the young man who stood up first lit up, and he was about to reach out and take the coins. But he was caught by a strong hand, unable to move. The young man turned to look at Yi Yu and said fiercely, "What are you doing?" Yi Yu chuckled, "The money is for this old man, what are you doing with it?" The young man was stunned for a moment, and then explained, "This old man fell down, I'll bring it for her first, why can't I do it?" Yi Yu nodded, "Yes, but I think it's best to give it to this old man, otherwise people will think you are a group." Under Yi Yu's meaningful eyes, the young man looked a little flustered, but he forced himself to remain calm. "What gang? Don't talk nonsense." Another young man also said with help, "Then give the old man the money quickly." The foreign woman was about to hand the money to the old man when Yi Yu shouted, "Wait." The two young people who were happy suddenly hated in their hearts, and stared at Yi Yu dissatisfied. "What are you doing? Now you give the money directly to the old man, what are you doing?" Yi Yu motioned to the foreign woman to put away the money, then looked at the two young people and said, "The matter has not been clarified yet, so it's not good to give money now." "What's not clear?" This foreign girl knocked down the old man. "It's not too much to give me some money. Are you right?" Two young men waved to the onlookers. "Yeah, if she knocked someone down, she has to lose money. It's better to lose some money, or it's more troublesome to go to the hospital." "Little brother, don't stop it, it's already clear. Hey, maybe this boy wants to pick up this foreign girl." "That's right, this foreign girl is hot enough." The two young men heard what the onlookers said, and looked at Yi Yu proudly. "How is it? Things are clear." Yi Yu chuckled lightly and said indifferently, "This is just your one-sided remark, you didn't listen to this foreigner's defense." "This." The young man hesitated for a moment, and then said, "We saw it with our own eyes, and she is a foreigner, and she couldn't understand what she said, she agreed to give the money, she must be at fault first. Quote, I just happened to understand." After Yi Yu finished speaking, he turned to look at the woman, and asked in fluent Shuiguo dialect, "Hello, can you tell me what happened before?" "Oh, the goddess is on top. Finally someone can understand what I'm saying." The foreign woman instantly shouted, and then excitedly said to Yi Yu, "My name is Diana. I was walking before when this old man suddenly fell down in front of me. Just as I was about to help her up, they were surrounded by them. I don't know what happened." Yi Yu understood. It seemed that Diana had met Punchy. The lady said she didn't hit the old man fell down by himself. Yi Yu turned around and said to everyone, "This is impossible." The two young men shouted in an instant, "We saw with our own eyes that she knocked down the old man, so don't think about it." A cold light flashed in Yi Yu's eyes, and he said coldly, "I saw it with my own eyes. Would you like me to call the police?" Reaching out to the camera hidden on the street light not far away, Yi Yu continued, "By the way, check the video of this camera." The two young men finally looked flustered and hated in their hearts. Why didn't they realize that there was a camera here? And the old man who was lying on the ground and whispering in a low voice also paled and began to feel uneasy. The surrounding crowd finally understood. It turned out that they were together, a partnership to deceive. It turns out that they touched porcelain. Call the police, don't let them go. These three are so bad. If it wasn't for this young man who is proficient in foreign languages and keen in observation, we would have all been deceived. Young man is great. Yi Yu turned to look at Diana and smiled. now that things are clear, don't worry anymore. Diana took a long breath and patted her towering chest. That's great, thank you so much. If it weren't for you, I really don't know what to do. If you encounter this kind of thing in the future, remember to call the police as soon as possible. Diana nodded and was about to speak when she suddenly stared behind Yu and exclaimed, "Be careful." Chapter 91. In Diana's sight, the expressions of the two young men changed, and their eyes flickered with anger. Yu turned around and started super mental arithmetic. The movements of the two were clearly calculated by Yu, and there was no threat. Boom! Lifting their legs and kicking sideways, the two youths instantly flew backwards, smashed to the ground, and wailed. A flash of brilliance flashed in Diana's eyes. What a handsome skill. Taking off her sunglasses, Diana looked at Yu excitedly. Wow. Cool. Is this kung fu? Yu turned around and was stunned for a moment, because this Diana was indeed too bright. Tall and swaying. The bridge of the nose is tall and straight, the face is delicate, the skin is as white as milk, and the eyes are like the blue lake water, which does not have an exotic style. Yu waved his hand and said casually, "It's just a simple kick. It's not a profound skill." Seeing the police take away the old man and the two young men, Diana stood beside Yu and asked, "By the way, I still don't know your name." "My name is Yu, a student of Shangyu Middle School." "Did you come to China for tourism?" Diana nodded. "Part of it, the main thing is to come to China to find someone." Yu did not continue to ask, but smiled and said to Diana, "If you want to see the scenery of Mingzhou, you can ask me as a guide, free of charge." Diana giggled. "Then let's say it, don't be troublesome." Drip. Promote Kung Fu. A prize draw once. Listening to the voice of the system in his head, Yu was speechless in joy. It turns out that in the eyes of foreigners, is raising the leg and kicking it a Kung Fu. After saying goodbye to Diana, Yu found a secluded place. Start the lottery. Drip. Congratulations to the host for extracting the meaning of the master. Yu was holding a shapeless, intangible air mass exuding a scorching aura in his hand, and he was a little overwhelmed. How to use this thing? System, what does this grandmasters will do? You can improve the host's martial arts to reach the master level. Yu shook his hand and exclaimed, "I wipe. So domineering." If speaking of martial arts, Yu now only knows the Bajiquan of Professor Xing Meng. Then improve Bajiquan. The air mass in Yu's hand disappeared instantly, and a villain appeared in Yu's mind, and the concise and fierce Bajiquan was fully displayed by him. After a long time, Yu opened his eyes, and a gleam of light flashed past, his sharp eyes like a sheathed sword, and his edge was restrained. Clenching his fist, Yu sighed, "This feeling is really amazing. In just a moment, it seems that I have practiced this Bajiquan for decades." At this moment, Yu's Bajiquan has reached the realm of a master. And Xing Meng, as a martial artist, majored in Bajiquan, and his realm reached the realm of entering the hall. Back at school, Yu happened to meet Yan Fengwu, who was looking for him. "What's wrong, sister?" Yan Fengwu breathed a sigh of relief when she saw Yu. "Yu, let me tell you, someone has come to find fault with the master." Yu raised his brows and asked suspiciously, "Finding faults?" Yan Fengwu nodded and told Yu Shang. It turned out that Xing Meng had a teacher named Yan Wei. They didn't deal with it at first. Now that Xing Meng was injured, Yan Wei was even more proud, so he brought his apprentice to provoke him. Seeing that Yu didn't care, Yan Fengwu hurriedly said, "I heard from the master that Yan Wei's eldest apprentice is already in the second-grade martial artist's blood-nourishing realm. You must not fall into their aggressive tactics and make a rash move." Yu didn't care. Now that his Bajiquan has reached the realm of a master, and with his super mental arithmetic, not to mention that he wants to reach the blood-nourishing realm, even if it exceeds the second-grade blood-nourishing realm, Yu is not afraid. Seeing Yu's casual appearance, Yan Fengwu stomped her feet angrily. "Come with me, don't blame me if you get hurt." In the gymnasium of Shangyu Middle School, because there is no physical education class, the huge gymnasium looks very empty. When Yu followed Yan Fengwu to the gym, Xing Meng was already waiting here. There were 3 people standing opposite Xing Meng. The person in the lead was thin and not tall, with short hair that looked neat and neat. Behind the man, there were still 2 tall and strong men, but their faces were immature and they looked young. They should be Xing Meng's junior brother Yan Wei and his 2 apprentices. Yan Wei folded his arms and looked at Xing Meng impatiently. Senior brother, can your apprentice come? Is it because of fear that he escaped? Bah, my Xing Meng's apprentice has never been afraid, and it is impossible to escape. Yan Wei sneered disdainfully when he heard the words, you 8-pole tiger has become a sick cat now, what's impossible? Xing Meng frowned and stared at Yan Wei sharply. Yan Wei, do you really think I'm hurt, so you can do whatever you want in front of me? Yan Wei chuckled, hee hee, senior brother, you are injured first. I won't fight with you. With my current strength of the 4th grade quintessence of bones, fighting you is bullying you. Seeing Xing Meng's blushing face from anger, Yan Wei became more and more complacent. Let my eldest apprentice compete with you. Shentu is now a 2nd-rank blood-nourishing martial artist, just in the same state as you are now. It's not bullying you. Xing Meng's eyes flickered with cold light. He really looked down on himself, and sent his apprentices to fight him. No need. Yan Fengwu let out a coquettish cry. Since you sent your apprentice to fight, I'll take over for the master. Yan Wei turned to look at Yi Yu and Yan Fengwu, and said softly, it's interesting, Xing Meng, are these your 2 apprentices? Xing Meng nodded at Yi Yu and the 2, and then said, my apprentice Yan Fengwu and my student Yi Yu. Yan Wei was stunned for a moment, then laughed, Xing Meng, you are really lonely now, I won't talk about your apprentice, what's the matter with this one called Yi Yu? Yan Wei stretched out his hand and nodded at Yi Yu, and said disdainfully, is this kind of stuff that doesn't rank as a facade. Xing Meng, do you underestimate me too much? Before Xing Meng could speak, Yan Fengwu broke out first, looking at Yan Wei and scolding, if you want to fight, fight, what nonsense. Yan Wei glanced at Yan Fengwu in surprise, and then said indifferently, Ma Liang. Go and play with her. A tall and strong man behind Yan Wei responded, took a step forward, clasped his fists with both hands, Ba Ji, Ma Liang. Yan Fengwu also clasped her fists with both hands, and said lightly, Ba Ji, Yan Fengwu. Yan Wei looked at the 2 in the field and said to Xing Meng, my apprentice Ma Liang and your apprentice Yan Fengwu are both 1st-rank leather martial artists, and the 2 of them are quite comparable in martial arts. Xing Meng looked indifferently at Ma Liang, who was fighting against Yan Fengwu, and chuckled, get ready to heal with your apprentice. Yi Yu stood beside Xing Meng, and also disliked that Ma Liang, because Yan Fengwu once said that he had defeated Xing Meng in the same realm. Drink. The 2 in the field shouted loudly, kicking off the prelude to the battle. Yan Fengwu and Ma Liang are both practicing Bajikwan, and the 2 of them have a great combination of moves. You come and I fight together. Although Yan Fengwu has just become a martial artist, but Yan Fengwu is very talented, and her physical quality is much higher than that of ordinary people. Coupled with Xing Meng's careful teaching, Bajikwan's level is far higher than Ma Liang's. It didn't take a moment for Yan Fengwu to suppress Ma Liang. Boom! Yan Fengwu's strength exploded under her feet, her delicate body was like an arrow from the string, and she came to Ma Liang's body, her right fist smashed into Ma Liang's chest with a strong wind blowing from her face. Ma Liang was startled and hurriedly crossed his arms, trying to stop Yan Fengwu's blow. However, Ma Liang underestimated Yan Fengwu's strength too much, and this blow directly sent Ma Liang flying out. Boom! Ma Liang fell heavily to the ground and didn't get up for a long time. Yan Fengwu put away her posture, clasped her fists with both hands and shouted, concession. Yan Wei's face was gloomy, and he snorted heavily, waste. Knowing that he was defeated, Ma Liang walked behind Yan Wei with his head lowered, looking terrified and not daring to speak. Shen Tu, you go. Shen Tu, who was behind Yan Wei, nodded and stepped forward when he heard the words. Shen Tu was much stronger than Ma Liang, with bulging muscles and distinct water chestnuts, like a hard rock. Shaking his neck, Shen Tu made a crackling sound from his body. Raising his stout arm, Shen Tu clasped his fists, Ba Ji. Shen Tu. The sound was thick like a big drum, and it sounded in the empty gymnasium. Seeing this, Yan Fengwu put away her contempt. This Shen Tu is not so easy to deal with. Ba Ji, Yang Feng dance. Seeing that Shen Tu had no intention of attacking, Yan Fengwu took the lead in launching the attack. Stepping on the foot, the body exerted strength, Yan Feng danced softly up, and hit Shen Tu Zonggong with a straight punch. Boom! Shen Tu didn't move, Yan Fengwu's fist hit Shen Tu's chest directly. Yan Fengwu's complexion changed, and she noticed that the force of her fist was like mud into the sea, and Shintu was not injured at all. Call. A strong wind swept past, and Shintu's fist was like a meteorite, hitting the arm that Yan Fengwu resisted. Boom. Yan Fengwu flew out directly, and she took a few steps back before she stopped. Rubbing her sore arm, Yan Fengwu looked at Shintu solemnly. What a great strength. Seeing this, Yi Yu was a little worried, and turned to ask Xingmeng, can senior sister Yan defeat this Shintu? Xingmeng's face was a little dignified, and he said in a low voice, this Xingmeng is so powerful that he is fierce and unforgettable. But Fengwu is unparalleled in martial arts, let's see. When Yan Wei heard Xingmeng's words, he sneered disdainfully, Shintu is very talented. He has been practicing with me for 8 years, and Bajikwan has already become very good. Your apprentice wants to win him. Joke. Xingmeng ignored Yan Wei, but kept his eyes on the situation on the field. Yan Wei saw that Xingmeng ignored him, his eyes were gloomy, and he snorted coldly, Shintu. Do your best. Shintu nodded and shouted, be careful. Yi Yu's ears moved, and he heard the sound of the river flowing from Shintu's body. Woohoo! The sound of surging blood vessels resounded on Shintu, and the power contained in the blood vessels burst out, the veins burst, the blood vessels expanded, and the body became even stronger and terrifying. The hot air rushed to his face, and Shintu's skin was reddish from the heat in his blood. Yi Yu looked at Shintu, whose appearance had changed drastically, and exclaimed in surprise, is this what a blood-nourishing martial artist looks like when he bursts out with all his strength? Seeing this, Yan Fengwu also burst out with all her strength, with a coquettish cry, her whole body surging with qi, her long hair was automatic without wind, and the heat radiated from her body made her snow-white skin scald red. This, is senior sister Yan also a blood-nourishing martial artist? Yi Yu asked suspiciously when she saw Yan Fengwu's change. Xingmeng shook his head, this is Fengwu's innate ability, I call it the martial god bloodline. When the martial god bloodline is stimulated, you can lie down and challenge the phoenix dance. Yan Wei's eyes narrowed, and then he calmed down again, no matter how talented he is, he can't match the mighty and unparalleled strength of Shintu. Boom! Yan Fengwu and Shintu collided, fists like thunder, legs like sharp knives, the floor of the stadium creaked, and it seemed that they could not bear the aftermath of the battle between the two. Boom! After another collision, Yan Fengwu and Shintu separated, both of them staring at each other closely. The corners of Yan Fengwu's mouth are raised, her eyes are sharp like a cheetah seeing its prey, this is the joy. Come again. Shintu's face was as cold as a rock, without the slightest fluctuation in his eyes, he threw his fist up. Boom, boom, boom. A fierce battle was staged in the stadium, and the floor was finally overwhelmed and burst open in the battle between the two. After a long time, a figure flew out from the battle between the two. Yan Wei gasped, it's impossible. The one who flew out turned out to be a second-rank blood-nourishing martial artist, Shintu. Yan Fengwu stood in the center of the arena, her long hair was blown by the rolling heat, and it fluttered like a battle flag. The originally dark hair seemed to be infected with blood energy, and a red light flashed slightly. With the unparalleled momentum of Yan Fengwu at the moment, it became more and more powerful. Good thief. When Yan Wei saw Shintu vomited blood and flew out, a cold light flashed in his eyes, he shouted loudly, and shot angrily. You dare. Seeing that Yan Wei didn't care about his face, he shot at Yan Fengwu. In a hurry, he moved and stopped in front of Yan Fengwu. Seeing this, Yan Wei's eyes flashed with excitement, and the corners of his mouth grinned, revealing snow-white teeth, okay. I'll see if the old 8-pole tiger can stop me. Xingmeng's eyes were red, and his blood was surging like a big river. Compared with Shintu, it was completely incomparable. Roar! Xingmeng roared, like a tiger going down the mountain, pounced on Yan Wei. There was a sneer at the corner of Yan Wei's mouth, the strength of his body was condensed, his tendons were like steel cables, his bones were like iron, and he clenched his fists and smashed at Xingmeng. Open! Yan Wei's iron fist and Xingmeng's tiger power collided, and a surprising fluctuation broke out. Boom! Yan Wei's forward figure stopped, but Xingmeng flew out backwards and hit the ground. Puff! Xingmeng's face was pale, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Yi Yu hurried forward, and Yan Feng danced left and right, helping Xingmeng. How are you, master? Yan Fengwu calmed down the excited bloodline, returned to normal state, supported Xing Meng, and asked worriedly. Xing Meng shook his head, coughed a few times, and said slightly weakly, "Cough, it's not in the way." Yan Wei put away his fists, put his back behind him, and stared at Xing Meng coldly. "I didn't expect that you have regressed to the realm of nourishing blood, and you still have such combat power." Xing Meng looked at Yan Wei and snorted disdainfully. "You are still so narrow-minded, no wonder you haven't made progress all the time." Yan Wei's face was as gloomy as water, and his eyes overflowed with jealousy. "It's that old man who is biased." "Humph. If it wasn't for the old man who only passed the Baji essence to you, but not to me, I would have surpassed you long ago." Xing Meng calmed down and stared at Yan Wei mockingly. "Is this what you came for, the essence of Baji? I won't give it to you. You'll just die." Yan Wei's face twisted, and he looked at Xing Meng viciously. "Yes, I just want Baji essence. Now that you are injured and defeated, Baji essence wants you to be unable to keep it." Xing Meng pushed Yi Yu and Yan Fengwu away and took a deep breath. "Ahem, even if I die, I won't let you get it." Yan Wei laughed, staring viciously at Xing Meng. "Death. I won't let you die. I want to make you completely useless. Including your apprentice." Yan Wei pointed his finger at Yan Fengwu and shouted sharply, "If you don't give me the Baji essence, let your apprentice become a waste like you." Xing Meng raised his head suddenly, stared at Yan Wei with wide eyes, pointed at him, and said in disbelief after a long while, "Yan Wei, I didn't expect you to fall so far. Where is your dignity as a warrior?" "Dignity?" Yan Wei laughed out loud, wiping the tears from the corner of his eyes. "Xing Meng, do you know the predicament that you can no longer move forward? For 8 years, I've been trapped in the 4th grade quintessence of bones for 8 years, and I haven't saved anything. What kind of dignity? I want the essence of the 8 extremes. I want to go further." "Ha ha ha." Yan Wei shouted loudly, like a madman. Xing Meng shook his head and repeated in a low voice, "Crazy, you are really crazy. Go away. I'll stop him." Xing Meng motioned to Yi Yu and Yan Fengwu in a low voice, telling them to leave quickly. Yan Wei suddenly stopped laughing wildly, staring at Xing Meng and Yan Fengwu with gloomy eyes. "Want to leave? If you don't hand over the essence of Baji, you will all die." Yi Yu looked at Yan Wei with a twisted face, and secretly slandered in his heart, would he still die? "I'm afraid it's not stupid to practice martial arts, but now it's a society ruled by law." Facing Yan Wei indifferently, Yi Yu said softly, "Cough, what do you want to get? Do you want to abolish them? Have you asked me?" "You, ha ha ha." Yan Wei pointed at Yi Yu and laughed until tears came out. "You are just a student of Xing Meng, not even an apprentice, how dare you stop me?" Xing Meng covered his chest with his hand, and anxiously said to Yi Yu, "Take the phoenix dance and leave quickly. Now is not the time to be brave." "I'm not leaving." Yan Fengwu shouted stubbornly. "Yi Yu, take your master and leave quickly, I'll stop them." After Yan Fengwu finished speaking, she exerted her strength and rushed towards Yan Wei. Beyond one's own strength, Yan Wei waved his hand, and Yan Fengwu flew out without any resistance. Puff! A mouthful of blood spurted out of Yan Fengwu's mouth. Shaking this body, standing on Xing Meng's side, also became a disease. Seeing Yan Fengwu's hand, Xing Meng asked anxiously, "Feng Wu, are you all right?" Yan Fengwu shook her head and sighed, "We may all be finished now." Xing Meng closed his eyes in pain. "I hurt you, I shouldn't have let you and Yi Yu come back." Seeing that the two of them were in a low mood, Yi Yu said with a smile, Hey. Don't be so pessimistic, okay. Isn't there me?" Yan Fengwu rolled her eyes at Yi Yu. "What time is it? You are still joking." Yi Yu shrugged with an innocent expression. "I'm not joking, I'll give you some treatment first, and you can just watch me knock them all over." Xing Meng and Yan Fengwu all looked at Yi Yu with strange eyes, thinking that Yi Yu had been frightened because of fear. Yi Yu ignored the eyes of Xing Meng and Yan Fengwu, stood in front of them, pointed like swords, vigorously, and quickly tapped a few points on their bodies. "You must know that the 3 needles of the Ghost Gate gods are the top needles in the healer continent. Saving and killing people are only a matter of thought. Like the injuries of Xing Meng and Yan Fengwu, to Yi Yu, it is trivial." Before Xing Meng and Yan Fengwu could react, Yi Yu had already turned around and hooked his fingers at the 3 of Yan Wei. "Yi Yu, Ha! Xing Meng wanted to stop Yi Yu and tell him not to be stupid, but suddenly he felt that his serious injury had improved by half. Yan Fengwu also had a happy expression on her face, and a strange color flashed in her eyes. She also felt that after Yi Yu clicked on her acupuncture point, all the previous injuries seemed to have disappeared. Yi Yu looked at Yan Wei and his two apprentices, chuckled lightly, and then said, "Are you coming one by one, or go together?" Yan Wei looked at Yi Yu, who had no fear at all, with a cruel smile on the corner of his mouth. "I didn't expect you to be so daring, but how useful is bluffing?" Yan Wei turned his head and glanced at his apprentice Ma Liang behind him, and said coldly, "Ma Liang will abolish him. Don't let me down this time." Ma Liang was shocked when he heard the words, knowing that this was a good opportunity to win the master's favor, so he drank it excitedly. "It's the master. I'll let him know what it means to be overwhelmed." Ma Liang stepped forward, pinched his phalanx, made a clack of knuckles, and said viciously, "Boy, I'll make you regret standing up." Yi Yu hooked his fingers at Ma Liang, and said casually, "Don't force it, hurry up, I should finish my meal." "So ignoring me?" Ma Liang's eyes were immediately bloodshot, he roared wildly, and rushed towards Yi Yu. Boom! With a body like an arrow and a fist like a thunderbolt, Ma Liang hit the pinnacle of his life with this punch. Yi Yu was a little speechless when he saw Ma Liang's excited expression. Is this kind of king in 8 fists also worth being happy? Dodging to let Ma Liang's flawed punch, Yi Yu reached out and pressed it on Ma Liang's head. He pressed down hard, and before Ma Liang could react, he directly pressed him to the ground. Boom! Ma Liang was lying on the ground with a confused expression on his face. Yi Yu raised his foot and kicked, "Get out of here." Ma Liang flew out like a shot football, smashed into the wall in the distance, and then slid down slowly against the wall. Seeing that his apprentice Ma Liang was defeated so easily, Yan Wei flashed a look of interest in his eyes. "It's a bit interesting." When Yan Wei's eldest apprentice Shintu saw Ma Liang's defeat, he stepped forward and said to Yan Wei, "Master, let me meet him." Yan Wei nodded and said softly, "Go, don't keep your hands, and beat him directly." Although Ma Liang is a waste, he is not something that a cat or a dog can humiliate. Shen Tu's face was cold, and he moved his muscles. Dong dong dong. Accompanied by a violent heartbeat, the blood of Shen Tu's whole body surged rapidly, and the originally strong body became even more ferocious and terrifying. "Master, can junior brother Yi Yu beat Shen Tu?" Although Yan Fengwu was surprised at Yi Yu's clean shot just now, she couldn't help worrying about Yi Yu when she saw Shen Tu's full strength burst. Xing Meng looked at Yi Yu with a dazzling expression. He had seen a natural taste in Yi Yu just now. "Wait, Yi Yu will give us a surprise." Boom! Shen Tu suddenly exerted his strength, and the floor immediately burst under his feet. Shen Tu, like a charging tank, slammed into Yi Yu. "You are much stronger than that trash." Yi Yu looked at Shen Tu, who had bumped over, said with a smile, and then stretched out his palm to block Shen Tu's iron fist. Invincible. Behind Yi Yu, Xing Meng and Yan Fengwu saw that Yi Yu was trying to block Shen Tu's fist, and they all exclaimed, "That was a second-rank blood-nourishing martial artist." And Yan Wei flashed cruelty in his eyes, as if he saw Yi Yu's broken bones and tendons. Boom! In the sight of everyone's astonishment, the floor under Yi Yu's feet cracked apart, but Yi Yu's body was like a rock on the shore, motionless. Impossible. How can he stop it? Yan Wei's cruel expression froze, surprised at how easily Yi Yu blocked Shen Tu's full force blow. Seeing that Yi Yu blocked his fist, Shen Tu roared wildly, blood surging all over his body like a river, and his aura became even more fierce. Boom boom boom. Shen Tu waved his fists, and a series of thunder-like attacks poured down on Yi Yu. Yi Yu, on the other hand, carried his hands on his back, without the slightest panic, and moved his footsteps like butterflies dancing among the flowers, avoiding the storm-like attack of Shen Tu. Shen Tu put away his fists, stared at Yi Yu, and said in a thunderous voice, "If you are a man, fight me." Yi Yu chuckled, "Oh, as you wish." The toes touched the ground, and the nearby ground shook slightly, and Yi Yu rushed out like lightning. Whoosh! Yi Yu swung his right fist, with a sharp whistling, hitting Shen Tu's stomach. Boom! Shen Tu's raised fist almost hit Yi Yu's head, but it stopped now. Eyes widened, Shen Tu said with difficulty, this kind of strength. This is called drill strength. Yi Yu said softly, then put his hand on Shen Tu's forehead and pushed hard. Shen Tu's strong body flew out, smashed to the ground, and fainted. Yi Yu, you are amazing. Yan Fengwu cheered excitedly when she saw Yi Yu's direct double kill. Xing Meng also widened his eyes, staring at Yi Yu, as if seeing Yi Yu for the first time. Xing Meng, he is the first-rank leather training realm, right? You don't even accept such a talented martial artist. Yan Wei's eyes twitched, and he turned to ask Xing Meng. Xing Meng was stunned for a moment, and took his eyes away from Yi Yu. I was afraid that I would delay him, so I didn't accept him as a disciple. I never thought that his talent was so terrifying. After Xing Meng finished speaking, he turned his head to look at Yan Wei and took a deep breath. Yan Wei, I can give you the Baji essence, but you have to let Yi Yu go. After hearing this, Yan Wei laughed, with jealousy flashing in his eyes. Baji Jing wants me to decide, and this Yi Yu is also abolished. You, Xing Meng pointed at Yan Wei, angrily speechless. Yan Fengwu on the side gritted her teeth and shouted to Yi Yu, Yi Yu, hurry up, my master, and I will stop Yan Wei. Hey, go there, Yan Wei shouted loudly, blood surging all over his body, and the hem of his clothes was automatic without wind, and a terrifying coercion filled the gymnasium. Xing Meng and Yan Fengwu were pale, feeling the incomparable power of Yan Wei, and they began to despair in their hearts. This time, it's a 4th-grade Bone Realm martial artist. Yi Yu stepped in front of Xing Meng and Yan Fengwu, looked at Yan Wei, and said coldly, since he wants to abolish us so much, then I will let him taste the taste of being abolished. Boy is arrogant. Yan Wei raised his brows, his anger rose, and a mere 1st-rank skin-level martial artist shouted in front of a 4th-rank pure bone-level martial artist. Boom! Yan Wei's body didn't move, but he punched him. The rapidly impacted fist crushed the air in front of him, and a shock wave rushed towards Yi Yu. Be careful. Yi Yu pulled Xing Meng and Yan Fengwu to the side, and where they stood before, the floor suddenly shattered. What a domineering power! Yi Yu raised his brows and said in surprise. Xing Meng stood on one side and said in a low voice, this is the unique inner strength of the Bone Realm martial artist. It is extremely domineering and must not be a match. Yi Yu nodded, pointed his toes on the ground, and moved up. The bones of the pure Bone Realm have been tempered like steel and iron, and the strength is transparent, and it is easy to open the monument and gravel in the wave of the hand. However, Yi Yu's Bajiquan has already reached the realm of a master, and every move is as good as heaven. Compared with Yan Wei's Bajiquan, it's so high that I don't know where. Xing Meng watched the battle between Yi Yu and Yan Wei, his eyes flickered, and he was completely immersed in Yi Yu's boxing and footwork. This realm, could it be that Yi Yu's Bajiquan has become so perfect? Xing Meng muttered to himself, staring at Yi Yu closely. The artistic conception of his gestures made Xing Meng intoxicated. And Yan Wei, who was fighting against Yi Yu, was even more surprised. Although his face didn't change, his constricted pupils completely revealed his shock to Yi Yu. Boom! Another collision. Yan Wei raised his hand into a knife, slashed down, and slashed a piece of the floor beside Yi Yu. Yan Wei took the opportunity to take a step back, and asked in surprise, boy, how hot is your Bajiquan? Yi Yu also stopped, looked at the shocked Yan Wei, and chuckled, yes. Yan Wei had a dark face, clenched his fists, and the air seemed to be overwhelmed with a crackling sound. Being able to compete with my 4th-grade quintessential Bone Realm martial artist is on par with me, at least reaching the state of being superb. Yi Yu shook his head and said softly, Bajiquan, I have reached the realm of a master. Yan Wei couldn't hide his surprise. What? Impossible, you can't reach the realm of a master. Xing Meng and Yan Fengwu also took a deep breath, knowing that the realm of the master is the top realm of martial arts. This is the 4th level of martial arts, and Xing Meng has not yet touched the edge of fascination, and Yan Fengwu has just reached the first glimpse. As far as Xing Meng knows, there are very few people in the realm of masters. These people are all martial arts masters, and Yi Yu is just a high school student. Yan Wei's face was extremely ugly, and he frowned, thinking secretly, this Yi Yu actually beat the 4th rank with the 1st rank, and Yan Wei couldn't think of any possibility except the Grandmaster Realm Bajiquan. Yes, it must be the Bajiquan of the Grandmaster Realm. You can stop me. Yan Wei looked at Yi Yu, jealousy in his eyes burning like fire. Baji Essentials. You must have got Baji Essentials. In Yan Wei's eyes, Yi Yu has now become a living book of 8 extremes, and the greed in his eyes seems to swallow Yi Yu. A scarlet elixir was pinched between Yan Wei's fingers. Yan Wei stared at Yi Yu sinisterly. As long as I kill you, I can not only get the essence of the 8 extremes, but also destroy a martial arts genius. What a shame. Made money. Xing Meng looked at the elixir in Yan Wei's hand, and said in shock, blood pill. Yan Wei, how dare you take this elixir? Blood explosion pill, an extremely domineering pill, can burn blood vessels in exchange for more violent power. Yan Wei swallowed the blood-bursting pill in his hand, and turned to look at Yi Yu with bloodshot eyes. Boy. What about the realm of a master? Blame you for being a first-rank martial artist. With a loud shout, Yan Wei turned his palm into a knife, and released his strength. A long and illusory long knife extended from Yan Wei's palm. The floor pointed to by the blade seemed to have been attacked by invisible attacks and shattered one after another. Xing Meng widened his eyes, took a deep breath, and shouted to Yi Yu, this is a gathering of qi. Yi Yu quickly retreat. With the powerful medicinal power of the blood-blasting pill, Yan Wei has already broken through the limit of the 4th grade quintessential bone realm, and can use the unique qi-gathering ability of the 5th grade pulp-washing realm martial artist. Yi Yu was unmoved, looking at the knife qi in Yan Wei's palm, feeling inexplicably familiar. This is very similar to Jiansao's invisible sword qi, but Jiansao's sword qi is far more pure than the sword in Yan Wei's palm. When the knife gang in his palm was successfully formed, Yan Wei grinned. Boy, taste the power of the unparalleled swordsmanship. Yan Wei raised his hand and slashed towards Yi Yu. Yi Yu felt the hairs between his brows stand upside down, and a terrifying feeling came to his heart. Yi Yu knew that he couldn't force it. Dodging and dodging, let Yan Wei's knife gang pass, and the floor behind him silently cracked a deep knife mark. I see how long you can hide. Yan Wei saw Yi Yu dodging the Dao gang, and a look of disdain flashed in his eyes. What if you reach the master's will? In front of my invincible Dao gang, you are a lamb to be slaughtered. Compared with the ease with which he faced Shen Tu, now facing Yan Wei, Yi Yu had to dodge much harder. On the one hand, Yan Wei's attacking moves are strict and orderly, with few flaws, and on the other hand, he is afraid of the sharp knife in Yan Wei's palm. Hey, ha ha ha, little bug, wasn't it arrogant before? Hide, ha ha ha. Yan Wei waved the knife in his palm, cutting the ground around Yi Yu into pieces. Yan Wei was not in a hurry to kill Yi Yu, but wanted him to experience extreme despair. Master, what should I do? Yi Yu can't hold on anymore. Seeing that Yi Yu had not fought back, Yan Fengwu passively dodged Yan Wei's attack, and her anxious tears were about to flow down. Xing Meng was also worried, but at this moment neither of them could help. They could only watch Yi Yu swaying like a small boat in the wind and rain. Hey, I think I understand a little bit. Strength condensed to the extreme is Gang Qi, and Sword Qi is beyond the existence of Gang Qi. It turns out that Sword Qi has always existed in my body, but it just won't drive it. Yi Yu looked at the sword gang that Yan Wei kept waving, and the light in his eyes flickered, and said faintly. Yan Wei flashed a bad feeling in his heart, staring at Yi Yu, his eyes flashed a fierce light. Let you not pretend to be a ghost. Sword Qi, it's Jian Gang, I'm afraid you will never reach it in your life. A more solid knife gang was condensed on the palm of Yan Wei's hand and slashed towards Yi Yu quickly. Facing Yan Wei's more terrifying attack, Yi Yu closed his eyes instead of dodging. Hee hee, are you starting to despair? Die. Seeing Yi Yu giving up his resistance, Yan Wei laughed cruelly, with bloodthirsty flashes in his eyes, as if he had seen Yi Yu being blown apart by the knife. Be careful, flash. Xing Meng and Yan Fengwu saw it in their eyes, and they were anxious in their hearts. Seeing that Yi Yu didn't dodge, they exclaimed in unison. Yi Yu closed his eyes and immersed himself in his body, looking for the sword qi hidden in his body. After absorbing the spirituality of the sword grass, the sword qi also entered the body, and transformed Yi Yu's body into a spirit sword body, and at the same time lurked. Under Yi Yu's deliberate search, he finally found the hidden sword energy in his dantian. Swish! Just when Yan Wei Daogong was about to come, Yi Yu opened his eyes. Under the glance of Yi Yu's sharp eyes like a sword, Yan Wei was like a lamb encountering a beast, and the movements in his hands paused unconsciously. Blazing! Yan Wei shouted, suppressing the feeling of fear in his heart, and the knife gang slashed towards Yi Yu with the momentum of wind and thunder. Yi Yu looked at Yan Wei calmly and chuckled, "Poor, you don't know anything about real power." Groan. A crisp sword cry rang out on Yi Yu, and a sharp and unparalleled sword energy shot up from Yi Yu. A sword out, the wind and clouds dance. At this moment, Yi Yu finally showed the domineering and fierceness of the spirit sword body. He pointed like a sword, ignoring the sword gang that Yan Wei was about to slash on his body, and Yi Yu slashed towards Yan Wei with his sword energy. The sword chi first hit the sword gang, and it didn't seem to be blocked by anything. In Yan Wei's terrified eyes, the sword gang dissipated. The sword chi pierced into Yan Wei's body mercilessly. Yi Yu and Yan Wei both stopped and stood facing each other. After a long time, Yan Wei laughed and said, "Hey, half a lifetime of persistence, but in the end, it's all in vain." Boom. Yan Wei slammed straight on the ground, his eyes were no longer crazy, and he lost his spirit. Master. Yan Wei's two apprentices, Shentu and Ma Liang, came over struggling and shouted while supporting Yan Wei. "Take him away. Don't show up here." Yi Yu looked at Shentu and Ma Liang, and gave a low voice, causing them to tremble in fear. Shentu and Ma Liang didn't say anything, they carried Yan Wei and hurriedly left the gym. Call. Seeing the group leave, Yi Yu took a breath, and then felt that his body seemed to be evacuated, and he was very weak. Dip. Congratulations to the host for defeating a powerful enemy, and a lucky draw will be rewarded. Yi Yu didn't have time to rejoice, his body couldn't hold it any longer, and after shaking it, he was about to fall. Yi Yu. Yan Fengwu hurriedly stepped forward, supported Yi Yu, and let him lie on her chest. "Yi Yu, are you all right?" Yan Fengwu asked anxiously with worry and regret in her eyes. Yi Yu lay in Yan Fengwu's arms, closed his eyes and rested for a while before feeling some strength. After struggling to stand up, Yi Yu's face was still a little pale, but it was much better than before. "It's okay, it's just a little out of strength." After Yi Yu finished speaking, he turned to look at Xing Meng. "Sorry, Mr. Xing, I can't stop because of the critical situation. Your junior brother Yan Wei has all his muscles torn by sword chi, and he can't live for long." Xing Meng shook his head and said comfortingly, "Yi Yu, it's not your fault, it's Yan Wei's fault." Yi Yu looked at the ground in the gymnasium that seemed to be devastated by artillery fire, and had a headache. "Mr. Xing, we won't pay for this, right?" Xing Meng laughed when he heard the words, "Stinky boy, there is me. Feng Wu, please help Yi Yu to rest first, and leave it to me to deal with it." Yan Fengwu nodded and helped Yi Yu out of the gym. Looking at Yan Fengwu's delicate profile, Yi Yu laughed, "Senior sister Yan, do you want to compete with me?" Yan Fengwu rolled her eyes at Yi Yu and snorted softly, "HMPH, don't be complacent, I will defeat you sooner or later." "Ha ha ha, then I have to wait." When he got home, Yi Yu insisted on finishing the 36th set of radio gymnastics, lying on the bed and no longer wanted to move. "I've been so tired today, it's time to draw a lottery for encouragement." System. Yi Yu called out while lying on the bed. Human race. Yi Yu, first level Taoist. Physique. Spirit sword body. Number of thefts. 0 inches. Avenue value. 301 thousandths. Talents. Flying cards, super mental arithmetic, language master, 13 needles of Ghost Gate, masked singer king, guardian halo, curse halo. Gongfa. The 36th set of radio gymnastics, master level Bajikwan. Items. Mantra potion, Conan's same spectacles, Dragon Gate jade carving, fire orb, luminous cup, Aztec gold coin. Number of draws, 1 inch. Start the lottery. Yi Yu gave an order, a turntable appeared in his mind, and then the pointer began to spin rapidly. Stop. After a few silent counts, the pointer on the dial slowly stopped. Blah blah blah. A piece of metal fell on Yi Yu's palm. Picking up the metal block and placing it in front of him, Yi Yu observed it carefully for a while, feeling a little disappointed. This is a piece of silver white, very ordinary metal, but it is somewhat mutilated, as if it was broken and peeled off from a large piece of metal. Yi Yu squeezed, the metal block in his hand was still quite hard, but he didn't find anything special, and Yi Yu was really tired, so he threw the metal block on the table and fell asleep. But what Yi Yu didn't realize was that after he fell asleep, the silver white metal block on the table lit up with a faint blue light, and then the mobile phone on the table turned on by itself. After Yi Yu fell asleep, the phone on the desktop started up by itself. Lines of extremely complex code are rapidly refreshed on the phone screen. After a long time, the waterfall-like code finally stopped, and the icon of a Decepticon robot lit up on the screen of the mobile phone. Early in the morning, Yu yawned and got up. Yu is very happy every morning when he wakes up, because he can carry out a new steal. This is a country of gourmet food. People here take food as their heaven and worship food. Everyone wants to be an admirable chef. The capital of the food country, Egg Fried Rice Market. A grand ceremony is underway. This is the award ceremony for the new MasterChef, Steven Tomato's MasterChef title. In the center of the capital Egg Fried Rice Market, a high platform was erected. All around are people who come to visit. Crowds of people gathered around the high platform, waiting expectantly. Accompanied by a burst of melodious music, a host in Chinese clothes walked to the high platform. The surrounding crowd erupted in cheers like a mountain in a tsunami. The host Brooke Onion stretched out his hand to signal, and the crowd fell silent. Nodding with satisfaction, Brooke Onion cleared his throat and said, "I'm so glad everyone can come to the God of Cooking Awards ceremony. In the past month, we have witnessed that Steven Tomato, with his amazing cooking skills and unrestrained ideas, has overcome difficulties all the way, defeated tens of thousands of contestants, and stood in the last Chef God Alice Cucumber's challenge stage." Under the high stage, the enthusiastic crowd cheered, "Tomatoes! Tomatoes!" Motioning for the crowd to be quiet, Brooke then said, "Finally, after a dazzling cooking show by our Steven Tomatoes, the golden egg fried rice is freshly baked. Defeat the previous chef, Alice Cucumber, won the affirmation of many evaluations, and is known as the new chef. Let's cheer for Steven Tomatoes." Quote, "The onlookers below were all flushed with excitement and cheered loudly, 'God of Cooking! God of Cooking! Let's use warm applause and invite the new chef, Steven Tomato!' Wow wow!" Accompanied by uninterrupted applause, Steven Tomato in a chef's suit made a grand debut. Cough cough. The new chef God coughed twice, then said, "Thanks to my friends for their love, I have achieved what I am today. Quote. In the days to come, I will further study cooking skills and bring you more delicious food." After Steven Tomato's more than an hour-long speech, the crowd's enthusiasm continued and they gave even more warm applause. The host took the microphone, smiled mysteriously to the audience below and said, "The next part is the most exciting part, the awards. Please bring out our master of ceremonies and present a reward to our chef." A slender master of ceremonies in a cheongsam and slit to the waist came up with a plate covered with red silk. As we all know, each of our master chef prizes is one of the God chef suits, so what is the prize today? The host stretched out his hand to hold a corner of the red silk and said mysteriously. Not only the people in the audience, but even the new generation of God of Cooking stretched their necks, wanting to see what prizes were under the red silk. Facing the expectant eyes of the crowd, the host smiled and said, "Okay, now is the moment to witness the miracle." Brush. In the hands of the master of ceremonies, the red silk was suddenly lifted open, revealing the reward of the chef inside. "Oh," the host exclaimed, "oh my God. I didn't expect it to be this one, the Dragon Slayer sword of the God of Cooking suit." An exquisite kitchen knife is lying quietly on the tray. The handle of the knife is a 5-clawed golden dragon, which is noble and luxurious. The blade is made of cold iron for thousands of years and is extremely sharp. The onlookers below were all shocked and speechless when they saw this dragon-slaying knife. After a long time, a shocking discussion broke out. "Oh my God, it turned out to be this Dragon Slayer sword. This is the most precious kitchen utensil in the God of Cooking suit. So happy. If only I could touch it." Knife. The knife flew. "Where's the dragon saber?" It was taken away by one hand. Yu withdrew his right hand in the passage, looked at the dragon saber in his palm, and almost threw it on the ground. "Your sister, although the style is very beautiful, this is also a kitchen knife, isn't it?" "System, what's the use of this? Don't tell me this is for cooking." Dip. Congratulations to the host for stealing the dragon saber of the God of Cooking suit. Dip. Congratulations to the host for successfully stealing, and the reward is 50 points. Dragon sword. Yu's eyes lit up. Isn't it the supreme martial arts, the dragon-slaying sword of the treasured sword? Without waiting for Yu to ask, the system directly gave an introduction to the dragon saber. Dragon slaughtering knife. one of the god of cooking suits, only the god of cooking who can make top-notch delicacies is eligible to use it. Yi Yu was a little disappointed. After a long time, he still cooked. Are you extracting spirituality? The system's voice sounded in Yi Yu's mind. Extract. I saw that the dragon-slaying knife in Yi Yu's palm suddenly turned into a golden dragon with claws and claws. After circling in the air for a few times, it got into Yi Yu's mind. Dip. Congratulations to the host for his talent, god of cooking. There is nothing that can't be solved by one meal. If there is, then 2 meals. Yi Yu, who had regained his senses, blinked, and suddenly felt that the reward from this god of cooking seemed to be very good. Shangyu Middle School. A tall, blonde foreign woman walked into the school gate. It was Diana, who Yi Yu had met earlier and was almost deceived. Excuse me, how do you get to the first class of Senior 3? This time Diana wisely downloaded a simultaneous translation software and was asking the school's security staff. Although the security guards were shocked by Diana's beauty, they still stopped her. Helpless, Diana had to show her ID. The security guard took the certificate and hurriedly contacted the principal, Li Zushu. Yi Yu, the principal asked you to come over. The monitor of the first class of the 3rd year walked up to Yi Yu and said something in a low voice. Yi Yu raised an eyebrow, indicating that Han Shui should not worry, and then came to the front of the principal's office. Tuk tuk. Report. Come in. Principal Li Zushu's voice sounded in the office. Squeak. Yi Yu pushed the door in, looked around, and was stunned for a moment. Diana. Why are you here? Diana, who was talking with the principal Li Zushu, turned her head and smiled at Yi Yu. You said it, when you were my tour guide, you won't forget it, right? Well, of course I didn't forget it, but I'm in class now, and I don't seem to have time. Li Zushu sat in the seat and said to Yi Yu with a smile, now that you have time, I hereby allow you to accompany Ms. Diana today and make a good trip to Mingzhou. Yi Yu was stunned for a moment and stared at Li Zushu with wide eyes. Is this all right? Outside Shangyu Middle School, Yi Yu asked Diana, what exactly are you? If you were just an ordinary foreigner, I don't think Li Zushu would specifically let me accompany you. Diana pursed her lips and smiled. It doesn't matter, the most important thing now is to be a good guide and accompany me around Mingzhou. Yi Yu shrugged. Diana didn't say anything. Yi Yu wouldn't ask again, because identity or something was not very important to Yi Yu. In the next time, Yi Yu led Diana around Mingzhou City and turned around. In addition to the ancient culture and beauty of Mingzhou, Yi Yu also found a place to be happy. Many billboards, or advertising screens, have advertisements for the peak auction after 3 days. I believe that not only Mingzhou City, but most parts of the country have such advertisements. Yi Yu raised his eyebrows and was a little surprised. Qian Yue and Kong Yuxian have quite a lot of energy. Such a national advertisement is not easy. Well, perhaps Zhao Hao's credit should be added. Yi Yu, look. Diana pointed at the pattern displayed on the advertising screen on the street and exclaimed. The advertisement for Yi Yu's peak auction was playing above, and the pattern and general introduction of the auction items were scrolling. What is now displayed is the fire orb's pattern and brief introduction. Auction at the summit. I must get this flame orb. Diana looked up at the flame orb on the screen and said firmly. Yi Yu laughed when he heard the words, I hope you are not short of money. On the busiest street in Mingzhou, Yi Yu was briefly introducing Diana. Yo, isn't this Han Shui's boyfriend? What's it called? Yi Yu. Yi Yu couldn't help frowning when a very rude voice sounded in front of him. Chin can't. Yi Yu looked indifferent and said softly, why wasn't the last blow enough? You still dare to stand in front of me? Chin couldn't let go of the new girlfriend in his arms, and said coldly, humph. You are a poor student. How could you have such a precious ring? It must have been stolen. Chin couldn't catch a glimpse of Diana by Yi Yu's side, and he looked like a pig in an instant. Hello, this beauty, I'm the general manager of Chin's international company, my name is Chin Wu, it's a pleasure to meet you. Diana ignored Chin Wu, but took Yi Yu's arm and said with a smile, Yi Yu, where are we going to eat? I'm hungry. Chin couldn't see Diana ignoring him, blushing and extremely angry. Hey, Yi Yu, I admire you. You lied to Han Shui with a stolen ring. She must have been dumped by Han Shui. Now she has hooked up with another foreign girl. Chin couldn't see this Diana, who was not inferior to Han Shui, and became more and more jealous of Yi Yu. Yi Yu glanced at Qin Wubu with cold eyes. Pay attention to your words. Han Shui is my girlfriend, always. This lady is my friend, and I am taking her on a tour of Mingzhou. Don't let you lower the overall quality of Mingzhou alone. Quote. You. Qin couldn't reach out and pointed at Yi Yu, unable to speak in resentment. Hearing that Yi Yu was taking Diana on a tour, Qin couldn't turn his eyes away, thinking about it. Are you going to eat? Coincidentally, the restaurant next to it is the top restaurant in Mingzhou. Would you like to come here for dinner? Qin could not point to a luxurious and unusual restaurant next to him. Oh, I remembered. If Yi Yu eats, you must pay for it. If you don't have money, forget it. I didn't say it. Qin couldn't finish speaking. He hugged his new girlfriend, turned around and walked into the restaurant with a very proud expression. Yi Yu, in fact, I want to taste the special snacks of Mingzhou City, so forget it here. Diana looked at this restaurant and knew that it was definitely not cheap, so she suggested Yi Yu. Yi Yu chuckled lightly, knowing that Diana was thinking of herself. Don't worry, Diana, since this Qin Wu dares to challenge me, he must be prepared to be slapped in the face. Isn't it just a meal? For Yi Yu, who just received the school scholarship, this is nothing. Walking into the restaurant and looking at the luxurious surroundings, Yi Yu was amazed. No wonder it was the top restaurant in Mingzhou, but it was different. Qin Wu, who was sitting in the seat, saw that Yi Yu brought Diana in, and was stunned at first, but did not expect that this poor student would dare to come in. Yi Yu, I admire your courage, but asking a lady to pay for it, or having a tyrannical meal, is not what a gentleman should do. Yi Yu greeted Qin's incapable ridicule, and chuckled, I can still afford a meal. Qin couldn't get a gloomy face, and sneered, okay. Then I'll wait to see your jokes. After a while, the waiter brought the dishes ordered by Yi Yu. It is indeed a top-level restaurant. The dishes that come up are exquisite in style, very pleasing to the eye, and very expensive. After signaling to Diana, Yi Yu and the two picked up the cutlery and started tasting. Picking up the food and putting it in his mouth, Yi Yu chewed it a few times, then frowned. This is too bad to eat. Is this really a meal from a top restaurant? No wonder Yi Yu thought so, but after absorbing the dragon saber and possessing the talent of god of cooking, Yi Yu was picky about food to an outrageous level. Seeing Yi Yu frowning and putting down the tableware, Diana asked softly, what's wrong, Yi Yu, are these dishes not to your liking? Yi Yu shook his head, and then said, the dishes they cook are really hard to swallow. On the side, Qin Wudong was secretly paying attention to Yi Yu. Hearing what Yi Yu said, Qin Wu immediately understood that this was the rhythm of eating the overlord meal. It's a good idea, but it won't let you succeed. Boom. Qin couldn't slap the table hard, and shouted loudly, Yi Yu. If you don't want to pay, just say that the dishes you cook are hard to swallow. You have a good plan. When the diners around heard what Qin couldn't say, they all looked over. Ha, this is the first time I've heard that the top restaurant in Mingzhou makes dishes that are hard to swallow. That's right, this boy made it clear he didn't want to pay. Pay, hee, look at his poor appearance, I'm afraid he has no money. You don't have money to come to this kind of place, just to pick up that foreign girl. Don't be afraid to make a fool of yourself. Shame, hurry up and get out. The surrounding diners were talking a lot, thinking that Yi Yu was looking for trouble and wanted to default on the debt. Diana also glanced at Yi Yu in amazement and frowned. In Diana's heart, she had always had a very good impression of Yi Yu. But Diana was sure that the dishes made by this restaurant, although not as good as what she usually eats, were considered top-notch. But in the end Yi Yu was with him. Diana just frowned and didn't speak. Qin, who was on the side, couldn't see Diana's frown, and was secretly happy. She already had a bad feeling for Yi Yu. If she worked harder, could she be more romantic? I heard that foreigners are very open. Yi Yu, if you don't have money, you say you don't have money. It's really boring to play such a small trick. Qin Wu couldn't show a smile on the corner of his mouth. He spoke lightly, ready to see Yi Yu's joke. Looking at the unkind eyes of the diners around, Yi Yu shook his head and sighed, you haven't eaten real food, right? This kind of food is really hard for me to swallow. Seeing Yi Yu still saying the same thing, the diners around were even more dissatisfied. This boy is still stubborn. The quality is really bad. When the time comes, he will be exposed, and I will see how he will step down. The skin is really thick enough. If I were, I would have burrowed into the cracks in the ground long ago. Diana, who was sitting opposite Yi, frowned even deeper, opened her mouth and wanted Yi to sit down and pay herself, but she didn't speak when she thought that Yi had helped her before. Is there something wrong? Seeing the noise here, the manager of the restaurant came over and asked softly. A sneer appeared on the corner of Chin Wu's mouth, and he said disdainfully, "This poor fool thinks that the dishes you make are too hard to swallow, and wants to default on the debt." The restaurant manager's face turned cold, and the dishes we made were hard to swallow. I want to see who has such a big tone. Turning to look at Yi, the restaurant manager said in a bad tone, "Sir, do you really think the dishes made in our restaurant are unpalatable?" Facing the restaurant manager's questioning, Yi looked indifferent and said softly, "That's right. It's very unpalatable." The restaurant manager looked even more indifferent and shouted angrily, "Sir, if our food is bad, there will be no good food in Mingzhou. If you make trouble again, I will call the police." Diana, who was on the side, pulled Yi quietly, and whispered, "If Yi doesn't matter, I'll pay." Yi sighed and looked at Diana, "Don't you believe it?" Then Yi turned his head to look at the restaurant manager and the diners with bad expressions, "Don't you believe it? All right then. It seems that I have to cook food before I can convince you of what real food is." The restaurant manager was even more annoyed when he heard this, and said coldly, "Okay. If you can cook better food than our restaurant, I will waive your fee. And apologize to you." Chin Wubu's eyes flashed with excitement, and he shouted loudly, "Yi, you are still pretending. If you can make what you call real food, then I will eat this table. If you can't, HMPH. Police right on the way." Yi heard Chin Wufu say this, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. "Chin Wufu, you better remember what you said. Besides, you can choose between steaming or braised." In order to show the chef's cooking skills and increase the attractiveness, the restaurant specially set up an open kitchen in the corner of the hall. At this moment, this kitchen has become a place for Yi to show off his cooking skills. It is the head chef of this restaurant who is opposite Yi. Yi and the head chef stood side by side, each standing in front of a stove. Diana, Chin Wufei, the restaurant manager, and the many diners who were attracted, all became the judges of this competition. The head chef of the restaurant is a squat middle-aged man, whose calm temperament makes him confident, but at this moment he has a straight face and is not angry and arrogant. Glancing at Yi sideways, the head chef sneered, "Be grandstanding. He is a national super chef, and a mere high school student dares to challenge himself." Yi ignored the head chef's disdain, but focused on observing the ingredients in front of him, thinking about what to cook next. Boom! The stove in front of the chef was roaring with flames. The chef skillfully picked up the spoon, picked up the spatula, and started flying up and down. On the other hand, Yi frowned and did not move for a long time. Chin couldn't see this, so he sneered and said sarcastically, "Ha! I knew he was bluffing, otherwise why didn't he move for a long time?" The manager of the restaurant folded his arms and looked at Yi's thoughtful face disdainfully, "Boy. It's only an hour. If you haven't made a dish after that time, don't blame me for being rude." The diners who were looking around also looked at Yi with strange eyes, and praised Yi's thick skin in their hearts. "I really don't cry without seeing the coffin. If nothing else, I really admire this young man's face. Cut. Hurry up and admit defeat. He is a national super chef. Do you want to surpass him even as a high school student? Don't say that. Maybe they are the chef gods hidden in the folk." Hee. Yi ignored the sneering diners around him, but fell into contemplation, because after having the talent of a chef, all kinds of dishes in the world are readily available, and he really doesn't know what to do. The chef here has already cut the ingredients, and the preparatory work has been completed. Judging from the situation, it should be ready to make a Buddha jumping over the wall. The head chef looked at Yi, who still didn't do anything, and the disdain in his eyes became more and more obvious. "Boy. You don't know how to cook, right? Would you like an egg fried rice? This is the easiest." Yi heard this, his eyes lit up. "Fried rice with eggs. Yudao is the simplest thing that becomes more profound, and it is just right to show Yi's cooking skills with an egg fried rice. Rice, eggs, carrots, cucumbers. The same ingredients were picked out by Yi Yu. The head chef on the side instantly widened his eyes and looked at Yi Yu in surprise. Aren't you? Are you really going to make egg fried rice? Yi Yu nodded. You're right, egg fried rice just perfectly shows my cooking skills. The head chef laughed out loud, as if he had heard some big joke. Egg fried rice. If you really beat me with egg fried rice, then I will be your full-time chef in the future. When the diners around saw that Yi Yu had finally selected the ingredients, they were all interested and wanted to see what Yi Yu was cooking. Is this egg fried rice? Yes, it's egg fried rice. My wife makes it every day. I'm sure it's good. This is too perfunctory. You want to win the game with egg fried rice. This young man is probably in a dream. After Yi Yu selected the ingredients, he picked up a kitchen knife and tossed it in his hand. Swish, swish, swish. The kitchen knife in Yi Yu's palm turned into a stream of light and spun rapidly. Turning the palm and pressing down, the kitchen knife jumped like an elf between Yi Yu's fingers, drawing dazzling flashes, and all the ingredients were processed in the blink of an eye. For the chef, not only the dishes made should be delicious, but the process of cooking should also be pleasing to the eye. Hiss. Seeing Yi Yu's technique, the crowd of onlookers gasped, and the air became quiet. They have never seen more than this gorgeous cooking technique. A flash of brilliance flashed in Diana's eyes, and her sense of Yi Yu improved a lot. Although she didn't know whether the dishes she made were delicious or not, this technique alone had already captured a lot of girls who were obsessed with beauty. Wow, such a gorgeous knife technique. So handsome. And didn't you find out? This boy's appearance is also very high. Che, what's the matter? When my fingers are healthy, I'm better than him. Chop. With a flick of Yi Yu's wrist, the kitchen knife spun rapidly in midair for a few weeks, then cut straight into the cutting board and stopped steadily. Boom. Yi Yu slapped the cutting board with the palm of his hand, and the cut ingredients flew into the spoon. Pick up the oil pot, tilt it slightly, and spread it evenly along the edge of the spoon. With a flick of Yi Yu's wrist, a fire dragon rose from the horse's spoon, showing its teeth and claws, flying in dazzling colors. This series of actions was like flowing clouds and flowing water, overwhelmed the crowd. All of them were shocked by Yi Yu's gorgeous technique and could not speak. Qin Wushan and the restaurant manager had a gloomy expression on their faces, and Yi Yu's gorgeous movements made them feel a little bad. Nothing. It's just that the action looks good. How could egg fried rice be better than Buddha jumps over the wall? Qin Wu and the restaurant manager could only comfort themselves like this in their hearts. The head chef, who was concentrating on cooking Buddha jumps over the wall, glanced at Yi Yu casually, his hands shook in shock, and the crock pot containing the ingredients almost fell to the ground. Such a cool way. Without indulging in knife craftsmanship for decades, it is definitely impossible to do it. At the same time, the head chef was very happy. If it was other dishes, he might have to worry about it, but this egg fried rice, How can you beat your own Buddha jumping over the wall? Boom. The head chef turned on the fire at full power, and 8 fire tongues bombarded the crock pot filled with ingredients, steaming the ingredients in the crock pot in a very short time. On Yi Yu's side, the fire dragon on the horse's spoon was still tossing and turning. With a flick of Yi Yu's wrist, the rice in the horse spoon turned upside down, like a real fire dragon, flying up and down with the ups and downs of Yi Yu's wrist. The circling flying dragon turned a direction in midair, flew straight to the white porcelain plate on the side, and reclined. Boom. Before the people around could see clearly, Yi Yu picked up a lid and covered the porcelain plate tightly. Call. Until this moment, everyone let out a long sigh of relief. Watching Yi Yu's cooking earlier, they were too nervous. They were holding their breath for fear of disturbing Yi Yu. Seeing that Yi Yu was finally finished, Diana's beautiful eyes flashed brightly, and she gave Yi Yu a thumbs up. Click. The chef on the side also turned off the fire, and his Buddha jumps over the wall was ready, but the chef's face was not very good. No way, compared to Yi Yu's cooking technique, he is really too low. However, the head chef looked at his crock pot and the porcelain plate covered by Yi Yu, and was instantly full of confidence. The head chef is best at Buddha jumping over the wall. This time, under the pressure of Yi Yu, he has reached the peak of his life. He is confident that this time he will conquer the taste buds of everyone present. Humph. Qin couldn't see that everyone turned their attention to Yi Yu. He was very angry and snorted heavily. Who wins and who loses depends on whose cooking is delicious, not whose cooking is good looking. The restaurant manager also nodded. He didn't want Yi to win. Let's try the dishes the two of you have made, so who comes first? Hearing this, Yi smiled and gestured to the head chef. There was a smile on the corner of the restaurant manager's mouth, and he hurriedly said, "It seems that this young man is very confident, then let's first taste the Buddha jumping over the wall made by the chef." The staff brought the chef's crock pot to the table, and everyone gathered around to watch. With a smile on his face, the head chef stepped forward, looked around at the expectant crowd, and slowly opened the lid of the crock pot. Call. The hot air steamed up and rose from the crock, like a long-lasting cloud, slowly spreading out. A peculiar aroma wafted into the nostrils, causing everyone to take a deep breath. It's really fragrant. As expected of the head chef of a top restaurant, this Buddha jumps over the wall. Manager, how much is this Buddha jumping over the wall? I'll order this dish next time I come. My old Cheng can be said to have traveled south and north, but I have never seen such a level of Buddha jumping over the wall. Chin Wu and the restaurant manager smelled the smell and clenched their fists with joy. This time it was done. Everyone swallowed, picked up the tableware, and tasted it impatiently. Ha, it's really delicious. I've never tasted such delicious food before. A diner put down the tableware and said with a sigh. Indeed, this Buddha jumps over the wall is a masterpiece. It must be the treasure of the restaurant. The restaurant manager nodded with a smile, pointed at Buddha jumping over the wall and said, "This is the treasure of our restaurant. You are lucky, you don't usually have to eat it at all." Manager, how much is this dish? I'll serve this dish for me in the future, it's not bad. The restaurant manager stretched out a finger and said with a smile, "One dish, 100,000 yuan, book a month in advance." Everyone took a deep breath. It is indeed the treasure of the town store, but just for this taste, it is worth it. After tasting this supreme Buddha jumping over the wall, everyone sat lazily on the chairs, having a chattering conversation, seemingly forgetting the existence of Yi. Cough. The restaurant manager coughed lightly, prompting everyone to say, "Have you forgotten, and this young man hasn't tasted it yet?" Everyone waved their hands and said impatiently, "What else to try? He is sure to lose. That is, can he still make something better than Buddha jumping over the wall?" Joke. Young man, just admit defeat. Can you still make flowers with egg fried rice? Chin couldn't help laughing instantly. He was sure that Yi would lose, but he had to finish the comparison to save him from defaulting on his debt. Everyone, let's have a taste. Maybe Yi's egg fried rice is made of flowers. Ha ha ha. Diana, who was sitting beside Yi, stood up, looked at Yi and said, "Others don't believe you, I believe you. I'll try it first." Yi nodded and said indifferently, "Try it. After eating the egg fried rice I made, you will know what real food is." Diana reached out and lifted the lid on the porcelain plate, exclaiming in disbelief. All the people watching around also exclaimed, This is too amazing. My God, am I hallucinating? I wipe. Is this still egg fried rice? How did he do it?" It's no wonder that Diana and the others exclaimed, because Yi's egg fried rice was beyond their imagination. Can you believe the glowing egg fried rice? I saw that the rice on the porcelain plate was full like jade, golden in color, bright and clear, and the cucumbers and carrots adorned with it were like jelly, trembling slightly, exuding a charming aroma. Qin Wushan, the restaurant manager, and the head chef all took a breath, feeling that their back molars were aching. This is too fantastic. God's shining egg fried rice. Seeing everyone's unbelievable expressions, Yi couldn't help laughing. Golden egg fried rice. Give it a try, I'm sure you won't be disappointed. Diana held the tableware and hesitated for a long time, but did not dare to start. It was really a plate of egg fried rice like a work of art, and she couldn't bear to destroy it. Seeing that Diana hesitated, Yi was amused, shook his head, and served a small bowl for Diana. Yi, what you've done is so beautiful, I can't bear to eat it anymore. Diana felt a little distressed about the destroyed egg fried rice. As a princess of a country, she had never encountered such a situation. Eat it, rice is made to eat. At Yi's insistence, Diana carefully took a bite of the egg fried rice in the bowl. Boom! The more intoxicating aroma exploded in Diana's mouth, and the extreme delicacy made Diana seem to have ascended to heaven, dizzy wandering in the sea of food. After a long time, Diana came back to her senses and looked at Yu with complicated eyes. I finally know why you said that the previous meal was difficult to swallow. After eating this delicious food, how could you eat other things? Chin couldn't start to panic, and the blood on his face faded. It can't be so delicious, you guys are cheating people together. The restaurant manager also turned pale. What if Yu won? Don't be deceived by this foreign lady, they belong together, let's try it. Let's see who makes it delicious. The onlookers also tasted it one after another, curious about Diana's obsessed expression just now. Woo! After eating a bite of egg fried rice, everyone closed their eyes and looked extremely happy, as if they had encountered the happiest thing in their lives. After a long time, everyone opened their eyes one after another, looked at each other like hungry wolves, and then began to frantically grab the egg fried rice on the porcelain plate. Boom, boom, click. Everyone went crazy, and they were scrambling for each other. Leave me some. Go away. You stepped on me. Ah, that fool bit my hand, let go. You put the plate down. In just a moment, the crowd dispersed, and all that was left on the table was an empty plate that was spinning. Yu looked at the diners who were like hungry wolves, and couldn't help laughing. Don't rush to eat, tell me, who won? Everyone stared at Yu with eager eyes, and said diligently, hey, little brother, you must have won. What else is there to say? That's right, after eating a bite of golden egg fried rice, I've come to the world for nothing, Lao Cheng. Golden egg fried rice wins. It's definitely the best in the world. Little brother wins. ... Everyone's opinion was surprisingly unanimous, and they all voted for Yu's golden egg fried rice. Chin couldn't look at the restaurant manager and head chef, who couldn't count on them. They were still addicted to the food. Looking at the empty plate again, Chin Babu was stunned. If you want to be so terrifying, you can even leave me a grain of rice. I haven't eaten yet. I don't believe it. I don't believe you can make such a delicious meal. Chin Wu's eyes flashed with madness. If he loses this time, then he will lose to Yu for the second time, and he will never allow it. Yu raised his eyebrows and said indifferently, don't you believe it? Would you like me to make another copy for you? Under the eyes of everyone's expectations, Chin couldn't grit his teeth, and his face was grim. No need. After hesitating for a moment, Chin couldn't reach out and pick up the empty plate. Everyone around was puzzled. What is he doing? There's no food on the plate. Who knows, maybe it's embarrassing. This is going to lift the table, he's too bad. Under the contemptuous eyes of everyone, Chin couldn't bring the plate close to himself and stuck out his tongue. Suck. A hard lick. Boom. The plate in Chin Wu's hand fell to the ground and burst into pieces. Lifting his head, the tears in Chin Wu's eyes couldn't stop flowing. It's delicious. A true fragrance expresses Chin Wu's most real thoughts. Bowing his head and wiping the tears from his eyes, Chin couldn't turn his face ashen and said sullenly, I lost, Yu, I didn't expect that your egg fried rice would make me unbearable to tell lies. Yu smiled coldly, I told you, do you want this table to be steamed or braised? Chin couldn't lower his head, looked at this round table, swallowed his saliva, his face was extremely ugly, come here, bring the table to my house. Chin Wu didn't dare to look at Yu anymore, and walked away with his head down. Yu glanced at the restaurant manager, this guy was still immersed in the food. Hey, wake up. Hearing Yu's shout, the restaurant manager came back to his senses and reluctantly looked at the broken plates on the ground. The restaurant manager finally remembered what he said earlier. Little brother, it's my short-sightedness. In your eyes, our meal is really hard to swallow. This meal is free. Not only this meal, the next meal, you will all come for free in the future. Yu gave the manager a high look. As expected of the manager of a top restaurant, knowing what to do is most beneficial. If you give Yu free in the future, it will be equivalent to promoting your own restaurant, why not do it? Yu nodded, accepting the restaurant manager's apology. Turning to look at Diana, Yu said with a smile, today is considered a treat for you, let's go. Diana smiled and said, Yu gave me a big surprise. When I arrive in the snow country, I will definitely entertain you. Just as Yu and Diana were leaving the restaurant, the chef's loud shout made them stop. Wait, little brother, don't go. Yu turned around and raised his eyebrows, why, are you still not convinced? The head chef sighed, I'm convinced. I admire all 5 of them, but didn't I say that before? If you win, I'll be your full-time chef, don't worry, no money. The diners who were still onlookers all despised the head chef. Wow, this person is so treacherous, doesn't he just want to eat delicious food? He even used this method. Hey, I don't blame him. After eating this kind of food, other foods are really hard to swallow. Oh my god, what should I do in the future? Little brother, do you open a restaurant? I will definitely be there every day in the future. Yes, little brother, I'm not short of money, as long as you cook for me, I can give you an annual salary of 10 million. Hearing this, Yi Yu shook his head at the head chef. I don't need you to be a full-time chef, and your cooking is not good enough. When the head chef heard this, he was not angry at all as a top chef, but lowered his head in shame. I'm sorry, I'm the one who climbed high. Looking up at Yi Yu, the head chef seemed to have seen the god of the chef world, and said with admiration, then can I learn cooking with you? Yi Yu reached out and stopped what the chef wanted to say. Don't follow me, I'm not here. After speaking, Yi Yu took Diana and turned and left the restaurant. The rest of the people in the restaurant all looked at each other in dismay, and all praised Yi Yu's unrestrained manner. Although he has achieved unimaginable achievements, he is still dismissive. Just because his ambition is not here, he is really at ease. Outside the restaurant door, Diana stood in front of Yi Yu and blinked her eyes charmingly. Yi Yu, I am very happy today. Remember to come 3 days later and come to the top auction, then I will tell you my true identity. Yi Yu smiled and nodded. Don't worry, I will definitely go. Back in the classroom, Yi Yu was scrutinized by Han Shui for 10 minutes. I heard that a foreign beauty is looking for you. Han Shui asked Yi Yu with a deliberately stern face. Yi Yu knew that Han Shui would ask herself, and now it is more important to tell the truth than anything else. Yes, the principal, Li Zushu, asked me to be a tour guide for a beautiful woman in a snow country. From the snow country, Han Shui lightly frowned. What a coincidence. Yi Yu nodded. It's called Diana. Her identity should be unusual, otherwise Li Zushu wouldn't have specially asked me to be a tour guide. Han Shui's eyes flashed. It turned out to be Diana, the most precious princess in the snow country. Didn't she say she would arrive in 3 days? Did she sneak out? Have you heard? Ake is going to broadcast the promotion of King of Glory. Just as Yi Yu was about to say something, a male student in the class suddenly exclaimed. Really? Then hurry up. I'm going to team up with my goddess while I study. My god, I'm a bronze slag, so I definitely can't match. It doesn't matter. Ake said that we will start from bronze and advance to the king. Our bronze army still has a chance to match Ake. Great, I want to apply for a new account, and strive to be promoted to the king with Ake. In Yi Yu's class, all the male students went crazy. They were all Ake's fans. This time Ake's live broadcast of King of Glory made them extremely excited. A male student in front of Yi Yu turned around and asked Yi Yu excitedly, Yi Yu, do you want to play king? Yi Yu nodded. There was no binding system before, and when he was bored, Yi Yu would play 2 games for entertainment. Yes, but I am a bronze slag, specializing in pit teammates. The male classmate waved his hand with a nonchalant expression on his face. It's fine. As long as you can match Ake, then you can let me play. Yi Yu couldn't refuse him, so he nodded. That's fine, but the chance of matching Ake should be very small. Ake's live broadcast has started. Everyone is ready to open the black. One of your male classmates has been staring at Ake's live broadcast. Seeing that he has opened the glory of the king, he hurriedly shouted. Comrades, say something that matches Ake. Yi Yu also took out his mobile phone, and at the same time remembered the beautiful host who invited Yi Yu to sing a few days ago, and it seems that he still has her phone number. Welcome to the glory of kings. A pleasant voice sounded from the phone, marking the start of the game. Yi Yu took the mobile phone and clicked to start matching. In just a moment, he had already entered the game. Yi Yu, the principal is looking for you. Yi Yu's game is called Your Second Uncle. When he was controlling Arthur to move, the squad leader called Yi Yu. As a last resort, Yi Yu had to put down the phone and walked out. Yi Yu is not worried that his hang-up will be reported by his teammates, because Yi Yu is used to it. As for matching Ake, this chance can be said to be unique. In the principal's office, Yi Yu stood in front of Li Shuiwen. Principal, look for me. Li Zushu looked at Yi Yu and asked with a smile, Yu, you took Diana around, how is she feeling? Very good. He is full of praise for our egg fried rice in Wabwo. Li Zushu was stunned at first. Although he didn't know what it had to do with egg fried rice, the ending was always good. That's good. Her identity is not ordinary, she must take good care of her. Back in the classroom, sitting in the seat, Yu picked up the phone again, ready to see himself standing in the spring, receiving abuse from his teammates. But when he looked down, Yu was stunned, and saw that his Arthur was making a big kill, while his teammates were full of 666. Yu is completely fascinated. What's the situation? No one controls my mobile phone, how can it move on its own? At this time, the classmates in the front row of Yu turned around and asked, Yu, how is it? Did you get into Ache? Yu replied subconsciously, it shouldn't be, right, what's the name of Ache's game? Her name is easy to recognize, as long as the last 3 characters belong to Xiao Ache, it is her. Yu looked at his mobile phone. The name of Daji's little mage in the middle was called the strongest king, Xiao Ache. At this moment, she was wagging her tail and moving forward. Yu couldn't help twitching the corners of his mouth, this is all right, and then said with certainty, no. I was amazed that my mobile phone was running automatically. So Yu put the phone under the table, folded his arms around his chest, and watched it quietly. I saw that Arthur, who Yu selected, first set a red buff and a blue buff, and drove a skill all the way, rushing towards the direction of the team battle. A big move fell from the sky, and then the first skill, the second skill, and the flat A3 combos made the 5 people on the opposite side dizzy and all corpses on the spot. 5 kills. Super God. Yu's eyes widened, watching his Arthur push the King's Canyon across the canyon, as if he was in a no-man's land. Picking up the phone and shaking it, Yu secretly thought, is this phone infected with a virus? At this moment in Ache's live broadcast room, the full screen of 666, kneeling and licking the super god, and the great god taking me, like a tsunami, whizzing past. While manipulating his own Daji, Ache said excitedly, hello everyone, now this teammate called your second uncle as 2000 in the first 3 minutes. It seems that he not only manipulates the show, but also grabs the head. 1 of 6. Soon and exciting, Victoria sounded over the Canyon of Kings. Not surprisingly, Yu's Arthur won the gold medal on the road and the title of Super God MVP. Your second uncle is so coquettish. The operation is like 6. Ache, don't let him go, you're teaming up with him to start a few rounds. My God, it turns out that Arthur can still play like this. Great God 666. Ache, I'm the third uncle. Let the second uncle take me. The principal presented 99 rockets. Ache asked the second uncle to take you to the king. Akko looked at the exiting game screen and patted the table. Boom, I've decided to team up with the second uncle until the king. Click on the team information to send. Ache is looking forward to your second uncle's reply. Yu looked at the team application sent by Ache, raised her eyebrows, and clicked to agree. Putting down the phone, while the game was loading, Yu frowned and thought about what was wrong with her phone. Suddenly, Yu's eyes lit up, and he remembered the metal block he got in the lottery yesterday. Because he was too tired yesterday, he didn't ask the system. When I woke up this morning, I found that the metal block on the table was missing. I thought it was not important and ignored it. Could it be this thing? System. With a call in Yu's heart, the system panel appeared in Yu's mind. Human race. Yu, first level Taoist. Physique. Spirit sword body. Number of thefts. 0 inches. Avenue value. 351 thousandths. Talents. Flying cards, super mental arithmetic, language master, 13 needles, masked singer, guardian halo, curse halo, god of cooking. Gongfa. The 36th set of radio gymnastics, master level Bajikwan. Items. Mantra potion, Conan's same spectacles, Dragon Gate jade carving, fire orb, luminous cup, Aztec gold coin, incomplete fire source. Number of draws. 0 inches. Yu's eyes flashed, and in the inventory, an incomplete source of fire was added. Incomplete source of fire. He is your most caring subordinate, even though he is cruel. Really it is. It is this source of fire that is integrated into his mobile phone, and the mobile phone will rule the entire Valley of Kings as if it has advanced intelligence. Putting on the headphones, Yu whispered, if you really integrate into the source of fire, you should be able to understand what I say. As soon as Yu finished speaking, the screen on the phone switched instantly, the game ran automatically in the background, and a majestic steel robot was displayed on the screen. Hello, dear master. S001 is at your service. Looking at the familiar Decepticon logo on the chest of the steel robot, Yuyu's heart skipped a beat. This is a toy that he loved as a child. S001. S001 is my number, master. A humble mechanical voice sounded in Yuyu's earphones. Yuyu's eyes flashed, and he said softly, it's too much trouble, you will be called Megatron in the future. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.